Answer me. Stand and unfold yourself.
Long live the king!
Bernardo,
He
you come most carefully upon your hour.
is now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco.
For this relief much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I am sick at heart.
Have you had quiet guard?
Not a mouse stirring.
Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste.
I think I can hear them. Stand ho, who's there?
Friends to this ground.
And liegemen to the Dane.
Give you good night.
Oh, farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved thee?
Bernardo has my place. Give you good night.
Hola,
Bernardo.
Say, what is Horatio there?
A piece of him.
Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus.
What, has this thing appeared again tonight?
I have seen nothing.
Horatio says 'tis but our fancy, and will not let belief take hold of him, touching this dreaded sight, twice seen of us. Therefore I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it.
'Twill not appear.
Sit down a while, and let us once again assail your ears, that are so fortified against our story what we have 2 nights seen.
Well, sit we down, and let us hear Bernardo speak of this.
Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven, where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating one.
Peace, break thee off. Look, where it comes again.
In the same figure, like the king that's dead.
Thou art a scholar. Speak to it, Horatio.
Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio.
Most like. It harrows me with fear and wonder.
It would be spoke to.
Question it, Horatio.
What art thou that usurps this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march? By heaven, I charge thee, speak!
It is offended.
See, it stalks away.
Stay, speak, speak! I charge thee, speak!
'Tis gone, and will not answer.
How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on it?
Before my God, I might not this believe without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes.
Is it not like the king?
As thou art to thyself. Such was the very armor he had on when he, the ambitious Norway, combated. So frowned he once when, in an angry parley, he smote the sledded Pollux on the ice. 'Tis strange.
Thus twice before, and jump at this dead hour, with martial stock hath he gone by our watch.
In what particular thought to work, I know not. But in the gross and scope of my opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state.
Good now, sit down and tell me, he that knows, why the same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land, and why such daily cast of brazen cannon and foreign mart for implements of war, why such impressive shipwrights, whose sore task does not divide the Sunday from the week. What might be toward that this sweaty haste doth make the night joint laborer with the day? Who is that can inform me?
That can I. At least the whisper goes so. Our last king, whose image even but now appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway, thereto pricked on by a most stimulant pride, dared to the combat, in which our valiant Hamlet, for so this side of our known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras, who, by a sealed compact well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit, with his life, all those his lands against the which, moiety competent, was gauged by our king, which had returned to the inheritance of Fortinbras, had he been the vanquisher, as by the same covenant and carriage of the article designed, his fell to Hamlet. Now, sir, young Fortinbras of unimproved metal, hot and full, hath in the skirts of Norway here and there sharked up a list of lawless resolutes, for food and diet to some enterprise that hath a stomach in it, which is no other, as it doth well appear unto our state, but to recover of us by strong hand in terms compulsatory those foresaid lands, so by his father lost. And this, I take it, is the main motive of our preparations, this source of our watch and the chief head of this post-haste and roamage in the land.
I think it be no other but e'en so. Well, may it sort that this pretentious figure comes armed through our watch. So like the king, that was and is the question of these wars.
A mote it is to trouble the mind's eye. In the most high and palmy state of Rome, a little ere the mightiest Julius fell, the graves stood tenantless, and the sheeted dead did squeak and gibber in the Roman streets. As stars with trains of fire and dews of blood, disasters in the sun, and the moist star, upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands, was sick almost to doomsday with eclipse. And even the like precurse of fierce events, as harbingers preceding still the fates and prologue to the omen coming on, have heaven and earth together demonstrated unto our climatures and countrymen. But soft, behold, lo, where it comes again. I'll cross it, though it blast me. Stay, illusion. If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done, that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily foreknowing may avoid, oh speak. Or if thou hast uphoarded in thy life extorted treasure in the womb of the earth, for which they say you spirits oft walk in death, speak of it. Stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus.
Shall I strike at it with my partisan?
Do, if it will not stand.
'Tis here!
'Tis here!
'Tis gone. We do it wrong, being so majestical, to offer it the show of violence, for it is as the air, invulnerable, and our vain blows malicious mockery.
It was about to speak when the cock crew.
And then it started like a guilty thing upon a fearful summons. I have heard the cock that is the trumpet to the morn doth with his lofty and shrill-sounding throat awake the god of day, and at his warning, whether in sea or fire, in air or earth, the extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confine, and of the truth herein, this present object made probation.
It faded on the crowing of the cock. Some say that ever against that season comes, wherein our Saviour's birth is celebrated, the bird of dawning singeth all night long, and then, they say, no spirit dares stir abroad. The nights are wholesome, then no planet strike, no fairy takes, nor witch hath power to charm, so hallowed and so gracious is the time.
So have I heard, and do in part believe it. But look, the morn, in russet mantle clad, walks over the dew of yon high eastward hill. Break we our watch up, and by my advice let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. For, upon my life, the spirit, dumb to us, will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves, fitting our duty?
Let's do it, I pray, and I this morning know where we shall find him most conveniently.
Act 1, Scene 2.
Though yet of Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green, and that it us befitted to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him together, with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state, here we as 'twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and a dropping eye, with mirth in funeral, and with dirge in marriage, in equal scale, weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barge all better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along. For all our thanks. Now follows that you know young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late dear brother's death our estate to be disjoint and out of frame, clinging with the dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father with all bonds of law to our most valiant brother. So much for him. Now, for ourselves and for this time of meeting, thus much the business is. We have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who impotent and bedrid scarcely hears of this his nephew's purpose, to suppress his further gate herein, and that the levies, the lists, and full proportions are all made out of his subject. And we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimand, for bearers of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power to business with the king more than the scope of these delated articles allow. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty.
And that in all things will we show our duty.
We doubted nothing. Heartily farewell. And now, Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is, Laertes? You cannot speak of reason to the Dane and lose your voice. What wouldst thou beg, Laertes, that shall not be my offer, not thy asking? The head is not more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth, than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst thou have, Laertes?
My dread lord, your leave and favor to return to France, from whence though willingly I came to Denmark to show my duty in your coronation, yet now I must confess that duty done, my thoughts and wishes bend again toward France, and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon.
Have you your father's leave? What says Polonius? Speak, Polonius.
He hath, my lord, wrung from me by laborious petitions, and at last of his will I sealed my heart consent. I do beseech you, give him heed to go.
Take thy fair hour, Laertes, time be thine, and thy best graces spend it at thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet and my son.
Little more kin than kind and less than kind.
How is it that the clouds still hang on you?
Not so much, my lord. I am too much in the sun.
Good Hamlet, cast thy nighted color off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever with thy veiled lids seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou knowest 'tis common that all lives must die, passing through nature to eternity.
Aye, madam, 'tis common.
Why seems it so particular with thee?
Seems, mother. Nay, it is, I know not seems. It's not alone in my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspicion of forced breath. No, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected haviour of the visage, together with all the forms, moods, shapes of grief that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play. But I have that within me which passeth show, these but the trappings and the suitings of woe.
'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these morning duties to your father. But you must know, your father lost a father, that father lost his, and the survivor bound in filial obligation for some term to do obsequious sorrow. But to persever in obstinate condolement is a course of impious stubbornness. 'Tis unmanly grief. It shows a will most incorrect to heaven, a heart unfortified, a mind impatient, an understanding simple and unschooled. For what we know must be, and is as common as any the most vulgar thing to sense, why should we in our peevish opposition take it to heart? Fie, 'tis a fault to heaven, a fault against the dead, a fault to nature, to reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers, and who still hath cried from the first course till he that died today, this must be so. We pray you, throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne, and with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son do I impart towards you. For your intent in going back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde to our desire, and we beseech you, binge you to remain here, in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier, cousin, and our son.
Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I pray thee, stay with us. Go not to Wittenberg.
I shall on my best obey you, madam.
Ah, why, 'tis a loving and a fair reply. Be as ourself in Denmark. Madam, come. This gentle and unforced accord of Hamlet sits smiling to my heart. In grace whereof, no jocund health that Denmark drinks today, but the great cannon to the clouds shall tell, and the kings rouse the heavens all brew it again, re-speaking earthly thunder. Come away.
Oh, that this too sullied flesh would melt, thaw, and receive itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie and fie. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possesses it merely, that it should come to this. 2 months dead. Nay, not so much, not two. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion to a Satyr, so loving to my mother that he might not between the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth. Must I remember? Why, she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on, and yet within a month, let me not think on it. Frailty, thy name is woman, a little month, or ere those shoes were old like Niobe, all tears. Why, she, even she, God, a beast that wants the discourse of reason, would have mourned longer. Married my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet to the salt of my most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married, oh, most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good. Break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Hail to your lordship.
I am glad to see you as well, Horatio. Do I forget myself?
The same, my lord, and your poor servant ever.
My good friend, I'll change that name with you. And what makes you from Wittenberg? Horatio? Oh, Marcellus!
My good lord.
I am very glad to see you. Good even, sir. But what in faith make you from Wittenberg?
A truant disposition, my good lord.
I would not hear your enemies say so, nor shall do you mind to say that violence to make it truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant. But what is your affair in Elsinore? We'll teach you to drink deep. Or are you to part?
My lord, I came to see your father's funeral.
I pray thee do not mock me, fellow students. I think it was to see my mother's wedding.
Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon.
Thrift, Horatio. The funeral baked meats did fondly courage furnish the forth the marriage tables. Would I had but my dearest foe in heaven, or ere I'd seen the day, Horatio. My father. Methinks I've seen my father.
Where, my lord?
In my mind's eye, Horatio.
I saw him once. He was a goodly king.
I was a man, taken for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again.
My lord, I think I saw him yesternight.
Saw who?
My lord, the king, your father.
The king, my father?
Season your admiration for a while, with an attent ear till I may deliver, upon the witness of these gentlemen, this marvel to you.
Well, for God's love, let me hear it.
2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch in the dead, vast, and middle of the night, been thus encountered. A figure like your father, armed at point exactly, cap a pie, appears before them, and with solemn march goes slowly and stately by them. Thrice he walked by their oppressed and fear-surprised eyes within his truncheon's length, whilst they, distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear, stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me, in dreadful secrecy impart they did, and I with them the 3rd night kept the watch, where, as they had delivered, both in time, form of the thing, each word made true and good, the apparition comes. I knew your father. These hands are not more like.
But where was this? Did you not speak to it?
My lord, I did, but answer made it none. Yet once methought it lifted up its head and did address itself to motion, like as it would speak. But even then the morning cock crew loud, and at the sound it shrunk in haste away and vanished from our sight.
'Tis very strange.
As I do live, my honored lord, 'tis true, and we did think it writ down in our duty to let you know of it.
Indeed, indeed, sirs, but this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight.
We do, my lord.
Armed, you say?
Armed, my lord.
From top to toe?
My lord, from head to foot.
Then saw you not his face?
Oh, yes, my lord, he wore his beaver up.
What looked he frowningly?
A countenance more in sorrow than in anger.
Pale or red?
Nay, very pale.
And has fixed his eyes upon you?
Most constantly.
I would I had been there.
It would have much amazed you.
Very like. Stayed it long?
While one with moderate haste might tell 100.
Longer, longer.
Not when I saw it.
His beard was grizzled, no?
It was, as I have seen it in his life, a sable silvered.
I will watch tonight. Perchance 'twill walk again.
I warrant it will.
If it assumes my noble father's person, I'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. I pray you all, if you have hitherto concealed this sight, let it be tenable in your silence still. Give it an understanding, but no tongue. I will requite your loves. So fare you well, upon the platform, twixt 11 and 12. I'll visit you.
Our duty to your honor.
Your loves is mine to you. Farewell. My father's spirit in arms. All is not well. I doubt some foul play. Would the right or come? Till then, sit still, my soul. Foul deeds will rise, till all the earth o'erwhelm them to men's eyes.
Act 1, Scene 3.
My necessaries are embarked. Farewell. And sister, as the winds give benefit and convey is assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you.
Do you doubt that?
For Hamlet and the trifling of his favor, hold it a fashion and a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of primy nature, forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and suppliance of a minute, no more.
No more but so?
Think it no more. For nature, crescent, does not grow alone in thews and bulk, but as this temple waxes, the inward service of the mind and soul grows wide withal. Perhaps he loves you now, and now no soil nor caudle doth besmirch the virtue of his will, but you must fear. His greatness weighed, his will is not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth. He may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for himself, for on his choice depends the safety and health of this whole state, and therefore must his choice be circumscribed unto the voice and yielding of that body whereof he is the head. Then, if he says he loves you, it fits your wisdom so far to believe it, as he in his particular act and place may give his saying deed, which is no further than the main voice of Denmark goes with all. Then weigh what loss your honor may sustain, if with too credent ear you list his songs, or lose your heart, or your chaste treasure open to his unmastered importunity. Fear it, Ophelia, fear it, my dear sister, and keep you in the rear of your affection, out of the shot and danger of desire. The chariest maid is prodigal enough if she unmask her beauty to the moon. Virtue itself scapes not calumnious strokes. The canker galls the infants of spring too oft before their buttons be disclosed. And in the morn and liquid dew of youth, contagious blastments are most imminent. Be wary then. Best safety lies in fear. Youth to itself rebels, though none be near.
I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as a watchman to my heart, but good my brother, do not, as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, while, like a puffed and reckless libertine himself, the primrose path of dalliance treads and wrecks his own raid.
Oh, fear me not. I stay too long, but here my father comes. A double blessing is a double grace. Occasion smiles upon a second leave.
Yet here, Laertes, aboard, aboard, for shame. The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you're stayed for. There, my blessing with thee. And these few precepts in thy memory look thy character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought this act. Be thou familiar by no means vulgar to those friends thou hast in their adoption tried. Grapple them unto thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment. Of each new-hatched, unfledged comrade, beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, bear that the opposed may be beware of thee. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy, for the apparel oft proclaims the man, and they in France of the best rank and station are of a most select and generous chief in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This, above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the ninth the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell, my blessing season this in thee.
Most humbly do I take my leave, my lord.
The time invites you. Go, your servants tend.
Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you.
'Tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it.
Farewell.
What is it, Ophelia, he hath said to you?
So please you, something touching the Lord Hamlet.
Marry, well thought. 'Tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you, and you yourself have of your audience been most free and bounteous. If it is to be so as 'tis put on me, and that in way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly as it behooves my daughter and your honor. What is it between you? Give me up the truth.
He hath, my lord, of late made many tenders of his affection towards me.
Affection? Pooh, you speak like a green girl, unsifted in such perilous circumstance. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them?
I do not know, my lord, what I should think.
Mary, I'll teach you. Think yourself a baby, that you've taken these tenders for true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly, or not to crack the wind of the poor phrase, running it thus, you'll tender me a fool.
My lord, he hath importuned on me with love in honorable fashion.
Aye, fashion you may call it. Go to, go to.
Given countenance to his speech, my lord, with almost all the holy vows of heaven.
Aye, springes to catch woodcocks. I do know when the blood burns, how prodigal the soul lends the tongue vows. These blazes, daughter, giving more light than heat, extinct in both, even in their promise as it is a making, you must not take for fire. From this time be somewhat scanter of your maiden presence, set your entreatments at a higher rate than a command to parley. For Lord Hamlet believes so much in him that he is young, and with a larger tether may he walk than may be given you. In few, Ophelia, do not believe his vows, for they are brokers, not of that dye which their investments show, but more implorators of unholy suits, breathing like sanctified and pious bawds, the better to beguile. This is for all. I would not, in plain terms, from this time forth, have you so slander any moment leisure as to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to it, I charge you. Come your ways.
I shall obey, my lord.
Act 1, Scene 4.
'Tis bitterly cold, the air bites shrewdly.
It is a nipping and an eager air.
What hour now?
I think it lacks of 12.
No, I think it is struck.
Indeed. I heard it not, then it draws near the season wherein the spirit held his wont to walk. What does this mean, my lord?
Ah, the king doth wake tonight and takes his rouse, keeps wassail in the swaggering uprising rills, and as he drains his draughts of reddish down, the kettle drum and trumpet thus spray out the triumph of his pledge.
Is it a custom?
Aye, marry it is, but to my mind, though I am native here and to the manner born, it is a custom more honored in the breach than the observance. This heavy-handed revel east and west makes us transduced and taxed of other nations. It cleps us drunkards. Swinish phrase soil our edition, and indeed it takes from our achievements. Performed it at height, pith in the marrow of all our attribute. So oft it chances in particular men that for some vicious mole of nature in them, in their birth that they are not guilty, since nature cannot choose his origin, by the air growth or some complexion of oft breaking down the pales and forts of reason, or by some habit too much or elevens, form of plausive manners. And these men carrying, I say, the stamp of one defeat, being nature's livery or fortune star, the virtues else, be they are as pure as grace, as infinite as man may undergo, shall in the general censure take corruption from that particular fault. The dram of evil doth all the noble substance of a doubt to his own scandal.
Look, my lord, it comes.
Angels and ministers of grace defend us. Be thou a spirit of health or goblin damned, bring with thee airs from heaven or blast from hell, be the intense wicked or charitable. Thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. I'll call thee Hamlet, king, father, royal dane. Oh, answer me. Let me not burst in ignorance, but tell why the canonized bones, hearsed in death, have burst their cerements, why the sepulchre wherein we saw thee quietly interred hath opted his ponderous and marble jaws to cast thee up again. What may this mean that thou dead corse, again in complete steel, revisits the glints of the moon, making night hideous, and we fools of nature so horridly to shake our disposition with thoughts beyond the reaches of our souls? Say, why is this? Wherefore? What should we do?
It beckons you to go away with it, as if it some impartment to desire to you alone.
Look, with what courteous action it waves you to a more removed ground, but do not go with it.
No, by no means.
It will not speak, therefore I will follow.
Do not, my lord.
Why, what should I be in the fear? I do not set my life in a pin's fee, and for my soul, why? What can it do that to be a thing immortal as itself waves me forth? I'll follow it again.
What if it tempts you toward the flood, my lord, or to the dreadful summit of the cliff that beetles o'er whose base into the sea, and there assume some other horrible form which might deprive you your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness? Think of it. The very place puts toys of desperation without more motive into every brain that looks so many fathoms to the sea, and hears it roar beneath.
It waves me still. Go on, I will follow thee.
You shall not go, my lord.
I'll hold off your hands.
Be ruled, you shall not go.
My fate cries out and makes each petty artery in this body as hardy as the Newman lion's nerve. Still, I am called. Unhand me, gentlemen. By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him who lets me. I say away! Go on, I'll follow you.
He waxes desperate with imagination.
Let's follow. 'Tis not fit thus to obey him.
Have after, to what issue will this come?
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Heaven will direct it.
Nay, let's follow him.
Act 1, Scene 5.
Where wilt thou lead me? Speak, I'll go no further.
Mark me.
I will.
My hour is almost come, when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself.
Oh, alas, poor ghost.
Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold.
Speak, I am bound to hear.
So art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear.
What?
I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast and fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. But then I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house. I could tell a tale unfold, whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, make thy two eyes like stars start from their spheres, thy knotted and combined locks depart, and each particular hair to stand on end like quills upon the fretful porpentine. But this eternal blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, oh list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love.
God!
Revenge his foul and most unnatural murder.
Murder?
Murder most foul, as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange and unnatural.
Makes me to know it, that I with wings as swift as meditation on the thoughts of love may sweep to my revenge.
I find thee apt, and duller shouldst thou be than the fat weed that roots itself in ease on Lethe wharf, wouldst thou not stir in this. Now, Hamlet, here, 'tis given out that sleeping in my orchard a serpent stung me, so the whole ear of Denmark is by a fulgid process of my death rankly abused. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears the crown.
Oh, my prophetic soul, my uncle.
Aye, that incestuous, that adulterate beast, with witchcraft of his wit, with traitorous gifts, oh, wicked witting gifts that have the power so to seduce one to his shameful lust, the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. Oh, Hamlet, what a falling off was there from me, whose love was of that dignity that it went hand in hand even with the vow I made to her in marriage, and to decline upon a wretch whose natural gifts were poor to those of mine. But virtue, as it never will be moved, through lewdness courted in a shape of heaven, so lust, though to a radiant angel linked, will sate itself in a celestial bed, and prey on garbage. But soft, methinks I scent the morning air. Brief, let me be. Sleeping within my orchard, my custom always of the afternoon, upon my secure hour thy uncle stole with juice of cursed Hebanon in a vial, and in the porches of my ear did pour the leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with blood of man, that quick as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and with a sudden vigor doth posset and curd like eager droppings into milk the thin and wholesome blood. So did it mine, and a most instant tether barked about most lays alike, with vile and loathsome crust all my smooth body. Thus was I sleeping, by a brother's hand of life, of crown, of queen at once dispatched, cut off even in the blossoms of my sin, unhouselled, disappointed, unannaled, no reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. Oh, horrible, most horrible. If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest. But howsoever thou pursuest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. The glowworm shows the matin to me near, and gins to pale his uneffectual fire. Adieu. Adieu. Hamlet, remember me.
Oh, all you hosts of heaven, O earth. What else? And shall I couple hell? Fine. Hold my heart in you, my sinews grow not instant old, but bear me stiffly up. Remember thee! Poor ghost whose memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. Remember thee! Yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all pressures past at youth and observation copied there, and the commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain unmixed with baser matter. Yes, by heaven. Oh, most pernicious woman. Oh, villain. The villain. Smiling, damned villain. My tables. Meet it as I set it down, that one may smile and one smile and be a villain. At least I'll make sure it be so in Denmark. And so, uncle, there you are. Now to my word. It is adieu. Adieu. Remember me. I have sworn.
My lord, my lord.
Lord Hamlet.
Heaven secure him.
So be it.
Hilly ho ho, my lord.
Hilly ho ho, boy. Come, bird, come.
How is it, my noble lord?
What news, my lord?
Oh, wonderful.
My good lord, tell it.
No, you reveal it.
Not I, my lord, by heaven.
Nor I, my lord.
Would heart of a man once think it? But you'll be secret.
Aye, by heaven, my lord.
By heaven, my lord.
There's ne'er a villain dwelling in all a Denmark, but he's an errant knave.
There needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this.
Why, right you are in the right, and so, without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and part. You, as your business and desire shall point you, for every man his business and desire, such as it is, and for my own poor soul part. Look you, I'll go pray.
These are but wild and whirling words, my lord.
I'm sorry that they offended you heartily. Yes, faith, heartily.
There's no offense, my lord.
Yes, but by St. Patrick there is, Horatio, and much offense too, touching this vision here. It is an honest ghost that, let me tell you, for your desire to know what it is between us, or master I ever as you may. And now, good friends, as you are friends, scholars and soldiers, give me one poor request.
What is it, my lord? We will.
Never make known what you have seen tonight.
My lord, we will not.
We will not.
Nay, but swear it!
In faith, my lord, not I.
Nor I, my lord, in faith.
Upon my sword.
We have sworn, my lord, already.
Indeed, upon my sword, indeed.
Swear.
Boy. Sayest thou so? Art there a true penny? Come on, you hear this fellow in the cellarage? Consent to swear.
Propose the oath, my lord.
Never to speak that you have seen. Swear by my sword.
Swear.
And to be then we'll shift our ground. Come hither, gentlemen, and lay your hands again upon my sword. Swear by my sword, never to speak of this as you have heard.
Swear.
Well said, old Noel. Canst work there ever so earth in the fast? A worthy pioneer. Once more, remove, good friends.
Oh, day and night, but this is wondrous strange.
And therefore, as a stranger, give it welcome. There are more things in the heaven and earth, Horatio, that are dreamt of in your philosophy. But come here, as before. Never so help in your mercy how strange or odd, soe'er I bear myself, as I perchance hereafter shall think meet to put in an antique disposition on, that you at such times seeing me never shall, with arms encumbered thus, or as this head shake, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrases, well we know, or well we could, if we would, or if we list to speak, there be there as it might, or as such an ambitious giving it out to note that you ought of me this not to do. So grace and mercy at your most need help you swear!
Where?
Rest! Rest, O perturbed spirit! So, gentlemen, with all my love, I do commend me to you. And what so poor a man as Hamlet is may do to express his love, and friending to you, God willing, shall not lack. Let us go in together, and still your fingers on your lips, I pray. The time is out of joint, Horatio. O cursed spirit, spite that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go together.
Act 2, Scene 1.
Give him this money and these notes, Ronaldo.
My lord.
You shall do marvelously well, good Ronaldo, before you visit him to make inquire of his behavior.
My lord, I did intend it.
Very well said, very well said. Look you, sir, inquire me first what danskers are in Paris, and how and who, what means, and where they keep what company at what expense, and finding by this encompassment and drift of question that they do know my son, come you more nearer than your particular demands will touch it. Take you as 'twere some distant knowledge of him as thus. I know his father and his friends, and in part him. Do you mark this, Ronaldo?
Aye, very well, my lord.
And in part him, but you may say not well, but if it be he, I mean, he's very wild, addicted so-and-so, and there put on him what forgeries you please. Marry, none so rake as may dishonor him, take heed of that. But sir, such wanton, wild, and usual slips as our companions noted and most known to youth and liberty.
Is gaming, my lord?
Aye, are drinking, fencing, swearing, quarreling, drabbling, you may go so far.
My lord, that would dishonor him.
Faith, no, as you may season it in the charge. You must not put another scandal on him that he is open to incontinency. That's not my meaning, but breathe his faults so quaintly that they may seem the taints of liberty, the flash and outbreak of a fiery mind, a savageness in unreclaimed blood, of general assault.
But my good lord.
Wherefore should you do this?
Aye, my lord, I would know that.
Marry, sir, here's my drift, and I believe it's a fetch of wit. You, laying these slight sullies on my son, as to our little thing's soul i' the working, mark you, your party in converse, him you would sound, having ever seen in the predominant crimes the youth you breathe of guilty. Be assured he closes with you in this consequence. Good sir, or so, or friend, or gentleman, according to the phrase or the addition of man and country.
Very good, my lord.
And then, sir, does he this, he does. What was I about to say? By the mass, I was about to say something. Where did I leave?
At closes in the consequence at friend, or so, and gentleman.
At closes the consequence. I marry. He closes thus. I know the gentleman. I saw him yesterday or t'other day, or then, with such and such, and as you say, there was he gaming, there tookens rouse, there falling out at tennis. Or perchance I saw him enter such a house of sale, the lecti, a brothel, or so forth. See you now, your bait of falsehood takes this carp of truth, and thus do we of wisdom and of reach, with windlasses and with assays of bias, by indirections find directions out. So my former lecture and my advice shall you be, my son. You have me, have you not?
My lord, I have.
God be with you. Farewell.
Good, my lord.
Observe his inclination in yourself,
I shall, my lord.
and let him ply his music.
Well, my lord.
Farewell. How now, Ophelio? What's the matter?
My lord, I have been so frightened.
With what in the name of God?
My lord, as I was sewing in my closet, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all embraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, ungartered, and down jived to his ankle, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purport as if he'd been loosened out of hell to speak of horrors, he comes before me.
Mad for thy love?
My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it.
What said he?
He took me by the wrist, and he held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long he stayed so. At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh, so piteous and profound, as if it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and with his head over his shoulder turns, he seems to find his way without his eyes, for out of doors he went without their helps, and to the last bended their light on me.
Come, go with me. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent property foredoes itself and leads the will to desperate undertakings, as oft as any passion under heaven that does afflict our natures. I am sorry. What, have you given him any hard words of late?
Oh, my good lord, but as you did command, I did repel his fetters and denied his access to me.
That hath made him mad. I am sorry that with better heed and judgment I had not quoted him. I fear he did but trifle and meant to wreck thee, but beshrew my jealousy. By heaven, it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, go we to the king. This must be known, which by being kept close might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love. Come.
Act 2, Scene 2.
Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Moreover, that we much did long to see you, the need we have to use you did provoke our hasty sending. Something have you heard of Hamlet's transformation, so call it, sith nor the exterior nor the inward man resembles that it was. What it should be more than his father's death, that thus hath put him so much from the understanding of himself, I cannot dream of. I entreat you both, that being of so young days brought up with him, and sith so neighbored to his youth and behavior, that you vouchsafe your rest here in our court some little time, so by your companies to draw him on to pleasures, and to gather so much as from occasion you may glean, whether aught to us unknown afflicts him thus, that opened lies within our remedy.
Good gentleman, he hath much talked of you, and sure I am 2 men there is not living to whom he more adheres. If it will please you to show us so much gentry and goodwill as to expend your time with us a while for the supply and profit of our hope, your visitation shall receive such thanks as fits a king's remembrance.
Both your majesties might, by the sovereign power you have of us, put your dread pleasures more into command than to entreaty.
But we both obey, and here give up ourselves, in the full bent to lay our service freely at your feet, to be commanded.
Thanks, Rosencrantz and gentle Guildenstern.
Thanks, Guildenstern and gentle Rosencrantz, and I beseech you instantly to visit my too much changed son. Go, some of you, and bring these gentlemen where Hamlet is.
Heavens make our presence and our practices pleasant and helpful to him.
Aye, amen.
The ambassadors from Norway, my good lord, are joyfully returned.
Thou still hast been the father of good news.
Have I, my lord? I assure my good liege, I hold my duty as I hold my soul, both to my God and to my gracious king. And I do think, or else this brain of mine hunts not the trail of policy so sure as it hath used to do, that I have found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy.
Oh, speak of that. That do I long to hear.
Give first admittance to the ambassadors. My news shall be the fruit of that great feast.
Thyself do grace to them, and bring them in. He tells me, my dear Gertrude, he hath found the head and source of all of your son's distemper.
I doubt it is no other but the main, his father's death and our or hasty marriage.
Well, we shall sift him. Welcome, my good friends. Say, Voltimand, what from our brother Norway?
Most fair return of greetings and desires. Upon our first, he sent out to suppress his nephew's levies, which to him appeared to be a preparation against the Pollock. But better looked into, he fully found it was against your highness. Whereat grieved that so sickness, age, and impotence was falsely borne in hand, sends out arrest Fortinbras, which he, in brief, obeys, receives rebuke from Norway, and in fine, makes vow before his uncle nevermore to give the essay of arms against your majesty, whereon old Norway overcome with joy. Gives him 3,000 crowns in annual fee, and is commissioned to employ those soldiers, so levied as before against the Pollock, with an entreaty herein further shown, that it might please you to give quiet pass through your dominions for this enterprise, on such regards of safety and allowance as therein are set down.
It likes us well, and at our more considered time we'll read, answer, and think upon this business. Meantime, we thank you for your well-took labor. Go to your rest. At night we'll feast together. Most welcome home.
This is well ended, my liege and madam, to expostulate what majesty should be, what duty is, what day is day, night, night, and time is time. Thing but to waste night, day, and time. Therefore, since brevity is the soul of wit, and tediousness the limbs of outward flourishes, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad. Mad call I it, for to define true madness, what is it but to be nothing else but mad? But let that go.
More matter with less art.
Madam, I swear I use no art at all. That he is mad, 'tis true, 'tis pity, and pity 'tis true, a foolish figure. But farewell it, for I will use no art. Mad let us grant him then, and now remains that we find out the cause of this effect, or rather say the cause of this defect, for this effect defective comes by cause. Thus it remains, and the remainder thus. Perpend. I have a daughter, have while she is mine, who in her duty and obedience mark hath given me this. Now gather and surmise. To the celestial in my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia. That's an ill phrase, a vile phrase. Beautified is a vile phrase, but you shall hear thus. In her excellent white bosom.
Came this from Hamlet to her?
Good madam, stay a while. Good madam, stay a while, I will be faithful. Doubt that the stars are fire, doubt that the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt I love. Oh dear Ophelia, I am at ill with these numbers, I have not art to reckon my groans, but that I love thee best, oh most best, believe it, adieu. Dying evermore, most dear lady, whilst this machine is to him, Hamlet. This in obedience hath my daughter shown me, and more above hath his solicitings, as they fell out by time, by means and place, all given to mine ear.
But how hath she received his love?
What do you think of me?
As of a man faithful and honorable?
I would fain prove so. But what might you think when I had seen this hot love on the wing, as I perceived it? I must tell you that. Before my daughter told me, what might you, or my dear majesty, your queen here, think, if I had played the desk or the table book, or given my heart a winking, mute and dumb, or looked upon this love with idle sight? What might you think? No, I went round to work, and my young mistress thus I did to speak. Lord Hamlet is a prince out of thy star, this must not be. And then I prescripts gave her that she should lock herself from his resort, Admit no messengers, receive no tokens, which done, she took the fruits of my advice, and he repelled, a short tale to make, fell into a sadness, then into a fast, thence to a watch, thence into a weakness, thence to a lightness, and by his declension into the madness wherein now he raves, and we all mourn for.
Do you think 'tis this?
It may be very like.
Hath there been such a time, I would fain know that I have positively said 'tis so when it proved otherwise?
Not that I know.
Take this from this if it be otherwise. If circumstances lead me, I will find where truth is hid, though it were hid indeed.
How may we try it further?
You know, sometimes he walks 4 hours together here in the lobby.
So he does indeed.
At such time, I'll loose my daughter to him. Be you and I behind an arras then, mark the encounter, and if he love her not, and be not from his reason fall thereon, let me be no assistant for our state, but keep farm and carters.
We will try it.
Oh, but look, where sadly the poor wretch comes reading.
Away, I do beseech you both. Away, I'll board him presently. Oh, give me leave. How does my good Lord Hamlet?
Well, God a mercy.
Do you know me, my lord?
Excellent. Well, you are a fishmonger.
Not I, my lord.
Then I would you are so honest a man.
Honest, my lord?
I, sir, to be honest, as this world goes, is to be one man picked out of 10,000.
That's very true, my lord.
For if the sun breeds maggots in a dead dog, being a good kissing carrion. Have you a daughter?
I have, my lord.
Huh. Let her not walk in the sun. Conception is a blessing, but as your daughter may conceive, friend, look to it.
How say you by that? Still harping on my daughter, yet he knew me not at first. He said I was a fishmonger. He is far gone, and truly in my youth I suffered much extremity for love very near this. I'll speak to him again. What do you read, my lord?
Words, words, words.
What is the matter, my lord?
Between who?
I mean the matter that you read, my lord.
Slanders, sir. For the satirical rogue says here that old men have gray beards, that their faces are wrinkled, their eyes purging thick amber and plum tree gum, and that they have a plentiful lack of wit, together with most weak hands. All which, sir, though I have most powerfully and potently believe, yet I hold it not honesty to have it thus set down. For yourself, sir, should be old as I am, if like a crab you can go backward.
Though this be madness, yet there is method to it. Will you walk out of the air, my lord?
Into my grave.
Indeed, that is out of the air. How pregnant his replies are, happiness that often madness hits on, which reason and sanity could not so prosperously be delivered of. I will leave him and suddenly contrive the means of some meeting between him and my daughter. My honorable lord, I most humbly take my leave of you.
You cannot, sir, take anything from me that I will more willingly part with all, except my life. Except my life.
Fare you well, my lord.
These tedious old fools.
You go to seek the Lord Hamlet. There he is.
God save you, sir.
My honest lord.
My most dear lord.
Ah, my excellent good friends! How dost thou, Guildenstern? Ah, Rosencrantz. Good lads, how do you both?
As the indifferent children of the earth.
Happy in that we are not over happy. On fortune's cap we are not the very button.
Nor the soles of her shoes?
Neither, my lord.
Ah, then you live about her waist, in the middle of her favors. Ah.
Faith, her privates we.
Oh, in the secret parts of the kitchens. Ah, most true, she's a strange trumpet. What news?
None, my lord, but the world grows honest.
Ah, then is doomsday near? But your news is not true. Let me question more in particular. What have you, my good friends, deserved at the hands of fortune that she sends you to prison here?
Prison, my lord?
Denmark's a prison.
Then is the world one.
A goodly one in which there are many confines, wards, and dungeons, Denmark being one of the worst.
We think not so, my lord.
Aye, why then, 'tis none to you. For there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me, it is a prison.
Why then your ambition makes it one. 'Tis too narrow for your mind.
Oh, God, I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams.
Which dreams indeed are ambition, for the very substance of the ambitious is merely the shadow of a dream.
A dream itself is but a shadow.
Truly. And I hold ambition of so airy and light a quality that it is but a shadow's shadow.
Then our beggars' bodies and our monarchs are outstretched here over the beggars' shadows. Shall we to the court? For my faith, I cannot read them.
We'll wait upon you.
No such matter. I will not sort you with the rest of my servants. For to speak to you like an honest man, I am most dreadfully attended. But in the beaten way of friendship, what make you to Elsinore?
To visit you, my lord. No other reason.
Beggar that I am. I'm even poor in thanks. But I thank you. In short, dear friends, my thanks are too dear a halfpenny. Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it a free visitation? Come, deal justly with me. Come, they speak.
What should we say, my lord?
Why, anything but of the purpose. You were sent for, and there is a kind of confession in your looks, which your modesties have not craft enough to color. I know the good king and queen have sent for you.
To what end, my lord?
That you must teach me. But let me conjure you, by the rights of our fellowship, by the consonancy of our youth, by the obligation of our ever-preserved love, and by what more dear, better prosper to charge you with all. Be even direct with me whether you were sent for or no.
What say you?
Nay, then, I have an eye for you. If you love me, hold not off.
My lord, we were sent for.
I will tell you why. So shall my anticipation prevent your discovery, and your secrecy to my king and queen molts no feather. I have of late, or no, I know of, lost in all my mirth, forgone all custom of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory, this most excellent canopy, the air. Look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof, spread with golden fire. Quite appears no other thing to me than a foul and pestilent congregation of people. What a piece of work is man. How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form, in moving, how express and admirable in action, how like an angel in apprehension, how like a god, the beauty of the world. The paragon of animals. And yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me, nor no woman, though by your smiling you seem to say so.
My lord, there was no such stuff in my thoughts.
Well, then why did you laugh when I said man delights not me?
To think, my lord, if you delight not in man, what Lenten entertainment the players shall receive from you. We coted them on the way, and hither are they coming to offer you service.
He that plays the king shall be welcome. His majesty shall have tribute of me. The adventurous knight shall use his foil and target. The lover shall not sigh gratis. The humorous man shall not end his part in peace. And the clown shall not make those laugh whose lungs are full of fear. And the lady shall say her mind freely, or the blamecar shall halt. What players of these?
Even those you were wont to take such delight in, the tragedians of the city.
Well, how chances that they travel? Their residence, both in reputation and profit, or better both ways.
I think their inhibition comes by the means of the late innovation.
Do they hold the same estimation they did when I was in the city? Are they so followed?
No, indeed they are not.
Well, how comes it? Do they grow rusty?
Aye, their endeavor keeps in the worded pace. But there is, sir, an area of children, little Iases, that cry out on the top of question, and are most tyrannically clapped for it. These are now the fashion, and so berattle the common stages, so they call them, that many wearing rapiers are afraid of goose quills and dare scarce come thither.
What, are they children? Who maintains them? How are they escorted? Will they pursue the quality no longer than they can sing? Will they not say afterwards if they should grow themselves to common players, as it is most like their means are no better, their writers do them wrong to make them exclaim against their own succession?
Faith, there has been much to do on both sides, and the nation holds it no sin to tar them to controversy. There was for a while no money bid for argument, unless the poet and the player went to cuffs in the question.
Is it possible?
Oh, there has been much throwing about of brains.
Did the boys carry it away?
Aye, that they do, my lord. Hercules and his load.
It is not very strange, for my uncle is king of Denmark, and those that would make mouths at him with my father lived gave 20, 40, 50, 100 ducats apiece for his picture a little. His blood, there is something in this more than natural. Lost we can find it out.
There are the players.
Aha! Gentlemen, you are welcome to Elsinore. Your hands come. The appurtenance of welcome is fashion and ceremony. Let me comply with you in this garb, lest my extent to the players, which I tell you must show fairly outwards, should more appear like contained than yours. You are welcome. But my uncle, father, and aunt, mother, they are deceived.
In what, my dear lord?
I am but mad northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw.
Well be with you, gentlemen.
Hark, you Guildenstern, and you too, hearer. That great baby you see there, he is not yet out of his swaddling clouts.
Happily, he is the second time come to them, for they say an old man is twice a child.
I prophesy he comes to tell me of the players. Market. You say right so. Oh, Monday morning, 'twas so indeed.
My lord, I have news to tell.
My lord, I have news to tell you. When Rothschild was
The actors are coming hither, my lord.
Oh, buzz.
Upon my honor.
Oh, then each actor came upon his ass.
The best actors in the world, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral, pastoral comical, historical pastoral, tragical historical, tragical comical, historical pastoral, scene indivisible, poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, no Plautus too light. For the law of written liberty, these are the only men.
Oh, gentle Judge of Israel, what a treasure hadst thou?
What a treasure had he, my lord?
Why, one fair daughter, and no more, that which he loved passing well.
Still on my daughter.
Am I not that right, old Jephthah?
If you call me Jephthah, my lord, I have a daughter that I love passing well.
Nay, that follows not.
What follows then, my lord?
Why, as by lot God wot, and then, it came to pass, as most like it was, the first row of the pious chanson will show you more, for look where my preachment comes. Oh, you players, all you players, welcome, masters, welcome all. I am glad to see thee well. Welcome, good friends. Oh, old friend, why my face is balanced since I saw thee last. Oh, come now to beard me in Denmark? What, my young lady and my mistress? Oh, my lady's ladyship is near to heaven where I saw you last by the altitude of a Chopin. Pray God your voice like a piece of uncurrent gold be not cracked within the ring. Masters, you are all welcome. We'll e'en it like a French falcon, fly at anything we see. We'll have a speech straight. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech.
What speech, my good lord?
Aye, I heard thee speak a speech once, but it was never acted, or if it was, not above once, for the play. I remember, please not the million. 'Twas cavalry to the general, but it was as I received it, and others whose judgment in such matters cried to the top of mine. An excellent play, well digested in the scenes and sat down with as much modesty as cunning. I remember one said that there were no salads in the lines to make the matter savory, no matter in the phrase that might indicate the author of a fiction, but called it an honest method. And wholesome as sweet, but very much more handsome than fine. One speech in it I chiefly loved was Ines' tale to Dido and thereabout of it, especially where he speaks of Priam's slaughter. If it live in your memory, begin at this line. Let me see. The rugged Pyrrhus, like the Hycurian beast. No, it is not so. It begins with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus, he whose sable arms black as his purpose did the right resemble, where he lay couched in the ominous horse, hath now his dread and black complexion smeared with heraldry more dismal, head to foot. Now it is he, total ghouls, horridly tricked with blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, bait and empasted with the parching streets, that lend a tyrannous and damned light to their lord's murder, roasted in wrath and fire, and thus o'ersized with coagulate gore, with eyes like carbuncles, the hellish Pyrrhus, old grandsire Priam seeks. So proceed you.
Oh God, my lord, well spoken, with good accent and good discretion.
Anon he finds him, striking too short at Greeks. His antique sword, rebellious to his arms, lies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal match, Pyrrhus at Priam drives, in rage strikes wide, but with the width and wind of his fell sword, the unnerved father falls. Then senseless, Ilium, seeming to feel this blow, with flaming tops stoops to his base, and with a hideous crash takes prisoner Pyrrhus' ear. For lo, his sword, which was declining on the milky head of Reverend Priam, seemed in the air to sit. So as a painted tyrant, Pyrrhus stood, and like a neutral to his will and matter, did nothing. But as we often see, against some storm, a silence in the heavens. The rack stands still, the bold wind speechless, and the orb below is hush as death. Anon the dreadful thunder doth render the region. So after Pyrrhus' pause, aroused vengeance sets him new a work. And never did the Cyclops' hammer falls on Mars' armor, forged for proof etern, with less remorse than Pyrrhus' bleeding sword now falls on Priam. Out, out, thou strumpet fortune! All you gods and generals synod, take away her power. Break all the spokes and fellies from her wheel, and bowl the round nave down the hill of heaven, as low as to the fiends.
This is too long.
It shall be to the barbers with your beard. Prithee, say on! He's for a jig or a tale of bawdry, or he sleeps. Say on! Come to Hecuba.
But who, oh woe, had seen the Moblid Queen?
The Moblid Queen.
That's good. Moblid Queen is good.
Run barefoot up and down, threatening the flames with bosom ram. A clout upon that head where late the diadem stood, and for a robe about her length and all o'er teemed loins. A blanket in the alarm of fear caught up. Who this had seen with tongue and venom steeped, 'gainst fortune's state would treason have pronounced. But if the gods themselves did see her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious sport, and mincing with his sword her husband's limbs, the instant burst of clamor that she made, unless things mortal moved them not at all, would have made the milch the burning eyes of heaven and passion in the gods.
Look where he has not turned his color and has tears in his eyes. Prithee, no more.
'Tis well. I had to speak out the rest soon. Good, my lord, will you see the players well bestowed? Do you hear? Let them be well used, for they are the abstract and brief chronicles of the time. After your death, you were better have a bad epitaph than their ill report while you live.
My lord, I will use them according to their deserts.
Got the Bodigans, man, much better. Use every man after his desert, and who should escape whipping? Use them after your own honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the more merit it is in your bounty. Take them in.
Come, sirs.
Follow him, friends. We'll hear a play tomorrow. Dost thou hear me, old friend? Can you play the murder of Gonzago?
Aye, my lord.
Good. Go ahead tomorrow night. You could, for a neat study, a speech of some 12 or 16 lines, which I would set down and insert in, could you not?
Aye, my lord.
Very well. Follow that lord, and look you mock him not. My good friends, I'll leave you till night. You are welcome to Elsinore.
Good, my lord.
Aye, so goodbye to you. And now I am alone. What a rogue and peasant slave am I, if it is not more monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul to see his own conceit, that from her working all his visage waned, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with his forms to conceit, and all for nothing, for Hecuba. Who's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? What would he do had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears, and plead the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty and appall the free, confound the ignorant and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy-mettled rascal, peak like John of Gerenes, unpregnant of my paws, upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain? Breaks my paint across, plucks off my beard and blows it in my face, tweaks me by the nose, gives me life in the throat as deep as to the lungs. Who does me this? Suppose I should take it, for it cannot be, but I am pigeon-livered, and lack gall to make oppressions better, or ere this I should have fatted all the region kites with the slave's awful. Bloody villain, remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain with vengeance. Why, what an ass am I that is most brave, that I am the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge. By heaven or hell must, like a whore, unpack my heart with words. I fall a-cursing like a very drab, a scullion. Fie, unto fie, oh, about my brain. Ever the guilty creatures sitting in a play have, by the very cunning of the scene, been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak the most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks. I'll tint him to the quick. If he do blench, I'll know my course. The spirit that I've seen may be the devil, and the devil hath power at assuming a pleasing shape. Yea, and perhaps out of my weakness, out of my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I have my grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
Act 3, Scene 1.
And can you, by no drift of circumstance, get from him why he puts on this confusion, grading so harshly all his days of quiet with turbulent and dangerous lunacy?
He does confess he feels himself distracted, but from what cause will no means speak.
Nor do we find him forward to be sounded, but with a crafty madness keeps aloof, when we would bring him on to some confession of his true state.
Did he receive you well?
Most like a gentleman.
But with much forcing of his disposition.
Niggard of question, but of our demands most free in his reply.
Did you assay him to any pastime?
Madam, it so fell out that certain players we o'er out on the way, of these we told him, and there did seem in him a kind of joy. He had joy to hear of it. There are here about the court, and as I think they are already on order this night to play before him.
'Tis most true, and he beseeched me to entreat your majesties to hear and see the matter.
With all my heart, and it doth much content me to hear him so inclined. Good gentlemen, give him a further edge and drive his purpose on to these delights.
We shall, my lord.
Sweet Gertrude, leave us too, for we have closely sent for Hamlet hither that he, as 'twere by accident, may hear affront Ophelia, her father, and myself, lawful espials, will so bestow ourselves that, seeing unseen, we may of their encounter frankly judge, and gather by him as he has behaved, if it be the affliction of his love or no that thus he suffers for.
I shall obey you, and for your part, Ophelia, I do wish that your good beauties be the happy cause of Hamlet's wildness. So shall I hope your virtues will bring him to his wonted way again, to both your honors.
Madam, I wish it may.
Ophelia, walk you here. Gracious, so please you, we will bestow ourselves. Read on this book that show of such an exercise may color your loneliness. We are oft to blame in this. 'Tis much proved that with the devotions, visage, and pious action we do sugar or the devil himself.
Oh, 'tis too true. How smart a lash that speech doth give my conscience. The harlot's cheek, beautied with plastering art, is not more ugly to the thing that helps it than is my deed to my most painted word. Oh, heavy burthen.
I hear him coming. Let's withdraw, my lord.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing in them, to die, to sleep no more, and by sleep, to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that fresh is heir to. 'Tis a consumption, devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come, where we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause, that the respect that makes calamity of so long life for who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pains of despised love. The law's delay the insolent of office, and the spurns the patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who'd fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of? Is conscious to make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied, or the pale cast of thought. In enterprises of great pith, in moment, with this regard the currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Soft you now. The fair Ophelia, nymph, in thy orisons be all my sins remembered.
Good my lord, how does your honor this many a day?
I humbly thank you. Well.
My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed to redeliver. I pray you now receive them.
No. Not I never gave you aught.
My honored lord, you know right well you did, and with them words so sweet, breath composed, as made the things more rich. Their perfume lost, take these again, for to the noble mind rich gifts wax poor when the givers prove unkind. There, my lord.
Are you honest?
My lord?
Are you fair?
What means your lordship?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty?
Aye, truly, but for the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty for what it is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometimes a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once.
Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
You should not have believed me. Virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall relish it. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offenses at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I be crawling between earth and heaven? We are errant knaves all. Believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Where's your father?
Home, my lord.
Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Farewell.
Oh, help him, you sweet heavens.
If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery, go, farewell. Or if thou wilt needs marry a fool. For wise men know not well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery, go, and quickly too. Farewell.
Powers restore him.
I have heard of your paintings too well enough. God has given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig, and you amble, and you lisp. You nickname God's creatures and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go now. I'll no more of it. It hath made me mad. I say, we are no more marriages. No more. Except those that are married already. All but one shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery go.
What a noble mind is here o'erthrown. The courtiers, soldiers, scholars, eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the fair state, the glass of fashion in the mold of form, the observed of all observers, quite down. And I, of ladies most deject and wretched, that sucked the honey of his music vows like sweet bells jangled, out of tune and harsh. That unmatched form and feature of blown youth is blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me, to have seen what I have seen, to have seen what I see.
Love? His affections do not that way tend, nor what he spake, though it lacked form a little, was not like madness. There's something in his soul o'er which his melancholy sits on brood, and I do doubt the hatch and the disclose will be some danger, which for to prevent I have in quick determination thus set it down. He shall with speed to England for the demand of our neglected tribute. Haply the seas and countries different with variable objects shall expel this something settled matter in his heart, whereon his brain still beating puts him thus from fashion of himself. What think you on't?
It shall do well, but yet do I believe the origin and commencement of his grief sprung from neglected love. How now, Ophelia? You need not tell us what Lord Hamlet said. We heard it all. My lord, do as you please, but if you hold it fit, after the play, let his queen mother all alone entreat him to show his grief. Let her be round with him, and I'll be placed, so please you, in the ear of all their conference. If she find him not, to England send him, or confine him where you wisdom best shall think.
It shall be so. Madness in great ones must not unwatched go.
Act 3, Scene 2.
Ha ha ha! Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it, as many of your players do, I had as lief the town crier spoke my lines. Nor do not saw the air too much with your hand thus, but use all gently from the very torrent, tempest, and as I may say, whirlwind of passion you must acquire, and beg it a temperance that may give it smoothness. Oh, it offends me to the soul to hear a robustious, periwig-pated fellow tear a passion to tatters, to very rags, to spill the ears of the groundlings, who are the most part incapable of nothing but inexplicable dumb shows and noise. I would have such a fellow whipped for o'erdoing Tigmart. It out, Herod's Herod. Pray you, avoid it.
I warrant, your honor.
Ah, be not too tame neither, but let your own discretion be your tutor. Suit the action to the word to the action with a special observance that you o'erstep not the modesty of nature. For anything so overdone is from the purpose of playing, whose end, both at the first and now, was and is to hold, as toward the mirror up to nature, to show virtue of her own features, scorn her own image, and the very age and body of the time's form and pressure. Now this overdone come tardy off, though it make the unskillful laugh, cannot make the most judicious breathe the censure of us, which one must in your allowance o'erweigh a whole theater of others. Oh, there be players that I've seen and played and heard others praise, and that highly, not to speak it profanely, that neither having the accents of Christians nor the galt of Christians, pagan nor man, have so strutted and bellowed that I have thought some of nature's journeymen have made men and not made them well. They imitated humanly so abominably.
I hope we have reformed that indifferently with us, sir.
Oh, reform it altogether, and let those that play your clowns speak no more. That is set down for them. For there be of them that will themselves laugh to set on some quantity of barren spectators to laugh too, though in the meantime some necessary question of the play be then to be considered. That's villainous, and shows a most pitiful ambition in the fool that uses it. Go, make you ready. How now, my lord, will the king hear this piece of work?
And the queen too, and that presently.
Ah, bid the players make haste. Will you two help to hasten them?
Aye. You will, my lord.
Oh, what ho, Horatio.
Here, sweet lord, at your service.
Horatio, thou art even just as man airs over my conversation cocked withal.
Oh, my dear lord.
No, do not think I flatter. For what advancement may I hope from thee, that no revenue hast but thy good spirits to feed and clothe thee? Why should the poor be flattered? No, let the candy tongue lick absurd pomp and crook the pregnant hinges of the knee where thrift may do fawning. Dost thou hear? Since my dear soul was mistress of her choice, and could of men distinguish her election, hath sealed thee for herself, for thou hast been, as one in suffering all that suffers nothing. A man that fortune's buffets and rewards hasten with equal thanks. And blessed are those whose blood and judgment are so well commingled that they are not a piper fortune's finger to sound what stop she please. Give me that man that is not passion's slave, and I will wear him in my heart's core, aye, in my heart of heart, as I do thee. Something too much of this. There is a play tonight before the king. One scene of it comes near the circumstance which I have told thee of my father's death. I prithee, would thou cease the act afoot? Observe mine uncle. If his occulted guilt do not itself unkennel in one speech, it is a damned ghost that we have seen, and my imaginations are as foul as Vulcan's tithy. Give him heedful note, for if mine eyes will rivet to his face, and after we will both our judgments join in censure of his seeming.
Well, my lord, if he steal aught, though whilst this play is playing and scape detecting, I will pay the theft.
Ah, they are coming to the play. I must be idle. Get you a place.
How fares our cousin Hamlet?
Ah, excellent in the faith of the chameleon's dish. I eat the air promise crammed. You cannot feed Captain so.
I have nothing with this answer, Hamlet. These words are not mine.
No, nor mine now. My lord! You played once in the university, you say?
That did I, my lord, and was accounted a good actor.
What did you enact?
I did enact Julius Caesar. I was killed in the Capitol. Brutus killed me.
It was a brute part of him to kill so capital a goal there. Be the players ready?
Aye, my lord. They stay upon your patience.
Come hither, my dear Hamlet, sit by me.
No, good mother, here's metal more attractive.
Oh, ho, do you mark that?
Lady, shall I lie in your lap?
No, my lord.
No, I mean my head upon your lap.
Aye, my lord.
Did you think I meant country matters?
Think nothing, my lord.
Ah, there's a fair thought to be in between the maid's legs.
What is, my lord?
Nothing!
You are merry, my lord.
Ah, who, I?
I, my lord.
Oh, God, you're only jig maker. What should a man do but be merry? For, look you how cheerfully my mother looks, and my father died within these 2 hours.
Nay, 'tis twice 2 months, my lord.
So long? Ah, nay then. Let the devil wear black, for I'll have a suit of sables. Oh, heavens! Died 2 months ago and not forgotten yet. Then there's hope a great man's memory may outlive his life half a year. But by Our Lady he must build churches then, or else shall he suffer not thinking on, when the hobby horse, whose epitaph is, for oh, the hobby horse is forgot.
What means this, my lord?
Mary, this is Mishing Michalou. It means mischief.
Belike this show imports the argument of the play.
Aha, we shall know by this fellow. The players cannot get counsel. They'll tell all.
Will he tell us what the show meant?
Aye, or any show that you will show him. Be not you ashamed to show, he'll not be ashamed to tell you what it means.
You're not. You are not. I'll mark the play.
For us and for our tragedy, here stooping to your clemency, we beg your hearing patiently.
Is this a prologue or the posy of a ring?
'Tis brief, my lord.
As woman's love.
Full 30 times hath Phoebus's cart gone round, Neptune's salt wash and Tellus' orbed ground, and 30 dozen moons with borrowed sheen about the world have times 1230s been, since love our hearts and Hymen did our hands unite communal in most sacred bands.
So many journeys may the sun and moon make us again count o'er ere love be done. But woe is me, you are so sick of late, so far from cheer and from your former state, that I distrust you. Yet though I distrust, discomfort you, my lord, it nothing must. For women fear too much, even as they love. And women's fear and love holds quantity in neither ought nor extremity. Now what my love is, proof hath made you know. And as my love is sized, my fear is so. Where love is great, the littlest doubts are fear. Where little fear grows great, great love grows there.
Faith, I must leave thee, love, and shortly too. My operant powers their functions leave to do. And thou shalt live in this fair world behind, honored, beloved, and haply one as kind. For husband shalt thou.
Oh, confound the rest! Such love must needs be treason in my breast. In second husband let me be accursed. None wed the second but who killed the first.
Wormwood, wormwood.
The instances that second marriage move are base respects of thrift, but none of love. A second time I kill my husband dead, when second husband kisses me in bed.
I do believe you think what now you speak, but what we do determine, off we break. Purpose is but the slave of memory, of violent birth but poor validity, which now, like fruit unripe, sticks on the tree, but fall unshaken when they mellow be. Most necessary 'tis that we forget to pay ourselves what to ourselves is dead, but to ourselves in passion we propose. The passion ending, doth the purpose lose. The violence of either grief or joy, their own enactures with themselves destroy. Where joy most revels, grief doth most lament. Grief joys, joy grieves, on slender accident. This world is not for aye, nor 'tis not strange, that even our loves should with our fortunes change. For 'tis a question left us yet to prove, whether love lead fortune or else fortune love. The great man down, you mark his favorite flies, the poor advanced makes friends of enemies, and hitherto doth love on fortune tend, for who now needs shall never lack a friend, and who in want a hollow friend doth try, directly seasons him his enemy. But orderly to end where I begun, our wills and fates do so contrary run, that our devices still are overthrown, our thoughts are ours, their ends none of our own. So think thou wilt no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead.
Nor earth to give me food, nor heaven light. Sport and repose lock from me day and night. To desperation turn my trust and hope, and anchor's cheer in prison be my scope. Each opposite that blanks the face of joy meet what I would have well, and it destroy. Both here and hence pursue me lasting strife, if once a widow ever I be wife.
If she should break it now.
'Tis deeply sworn. Sweet, leave me here a while. My spirits grow dull, and fain I would beguile the tedious day with sleep.
Sleep rock thy brain, and never come mischance between us twain.
Madam, how like you this play?
The lady doth protest too much, methinks.
Oh, but she'll keep her word.
Have you heard the argument? Is there no offense in it?
No, they do but jest. Poison in jest. No offense in the world.
What do you call the play?
The Mousetrap. Mary, How? Tropically. This play is the image of a murder done in Vienna. Gonzago is the Duke's name, his wife, Baptista. You shall see anon. 'Tis a knavish piece of work, but what of that? Your Majesty, and we that have free souls, it touches us not. Let the galled jade wince, or withers are unwrung. Ah, this is one Lucianus, nephew to the king.
You're as good as the chorus, my lord.
I could interpret between you and your love if it could see the puppets dallying.
You are keen, my lord, you are keen.
It would not, just a groaning to take mine off of edge.
Still better and worse.
So you must take your husbands. Begin, murderer. Pox! Leave thy damnable faces and begin. Come! The croaking raven doth bellow for revenge.
Thoughts black, hands apt, drugs fit, and time agreeing. Confederate season, else no creature seeing. Thou mixture rank of midnight weeds collected, with Hecate's band thrice blasted, thrice infected, thy natural magic and dire property on wholesome life usurp immediately.
He poisons him in the garden for his estate. His name's Gonzago. The story is extant and written in choice Italian. You shall see anon how the murderer gets the love of Gonzago's wife.
The king rises.
Ah, what? Friday with false fire?
How fares my lord?
Before the play.
Give me some light. Away!
Lights, lights, lights.
Why, let the stricken deer go weep, the heart ungulled play, for some must watch while some must sleep. So runs the world away. Would not this, sir, in a forest of feathers, if the rest of my fortunes turn Turk with me, with 2 provincial roses on my raised shoes, get me a fellowship and a cry of players?
Half a share.
A whole one. Aye, for thou dost know, O Damon dear, this realm dismantled was of Jove himself, and now reigns here a very, very Pojak.
You might have rhymed.
Oh, good, Horatio. I'll take the ghost's word for £1,000. Didst thou perceive?
Very well, my lord.
Talk of the poisoning.
I did very well note him.
Aha! Come, some music. Come, the recorders. For if the king like not the comedy, why then be like he likes it not purdy. Come, some music.
Good, my lord, vouchsafe me a word with you.
Ah, sir, a whole history.
The king, sir.
Ah, sir, what of the king?
Is in his retirement marvelous distempered.
Oh, with drink, sir?
No, my lord, rather with choler.
Your wisdom should show itself more richer to signify this to the doctor. For me to put him to his purgation would perhaps plunge him into a far more choler.
Good, my lord. Put your discourse into some frame, and start not so wildly from my affair.
Oh, I am tame, sir, pronounce.
The queen your mother, in most great affliction of spirit, hath sent me to you.
You are welcome.
Nay, good my lord, this courtesy is not of the right breed. If it shall please you to make me a wholesome answer, I will do your mother's commandment. If not, your pardon and my return shall be the end of my business.
Sir, I cannot.
What, my lord?
Make you a wholesome answer. My wits diseased. But, sir, such answer as I can make, you shall command, or rather, as you say, my mother. Therefore, no more but to the matter. My mother, you say?
Then thus she says, your behavior hath struck her into amazement and admiration.
Oh, wonderful son that can so astonish a mother. But is there no sequel at the heels of this mother's admiration? In part.
She desires to speak with you in her closet ere you go to bed.
Ah, we shall obey. Were she 10 times our mother. Have you any further trade with us?
My lord, you once did love me.
And do still by these pickers and stealers.
Good, my lord. What is your cause of distemper? You do surely bar the door upon your own liberty if you deny your griefs to your friend.
Sir, I lack advancement.
How can that be when you have the voice of the king himself for your succession in Denmark?
Aye, sir, but while the grass grows, the proverb is something musty. Oh, the recorders, let me see one. Ha! To withdraw with you, why do you go about to recover the wind of me as if you would drive me into a toil?
Oh, my lord, if my duty be too bold, my love is too unmannerly.
I do not understand you. Will you not play upon that pipe?
My lord, I cannot.
I pray you.
Believe me, I cannot.
I do beseech you.
I know no touch of it, my lord.
It's as easy as lying. Look, govern these vantages with your fingers and thumbs. Give it breath with your mouth, and it will discourse most eloquent music. Look, you see, those are the stops.
But these cannot I command to any utterance of harmony. I have not the skill.
Why, look you now how unworthy a thing you make of me. You would play upon me. You would seem to know my stops. You would pluck out the heart of my mystery, and you would sound me from my lowest note to the top of my compass. And there is much music, excellent voice in this little organ, yet cannot make you speak it. Does blood do you not think I am easier to be played on than a pipe? Call me what instrument you will, though you cannot fret me. You cannot play upon me. God bless you, sir.
My lord, the queen would speak with you, and presently.
Look. Do you see yonder cloud that's almost in the shape of a camel?
By the mass, and 'tis like a camel indeed.
Methinks it looks like a weasel.
It is backed like a weasel.
Or like a whale.
Very like a whale.
Ah, then I will come to my mother by and by. They fool me to the top of my bent. I will come by and by.
I will say so.
By and by is easily said. Leave me, friends. 'Tis now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. Now could I drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the bitter day would quake to look on. Soft, now to my mother. O heart, lose not thy nature, let not ever the soul of Nero enter his firm bosom. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use none. My tongue and my soul is this be hypocrites. How in my words somehow ever she be shent to give them seals newer, my soul consent.
Act 3, Scene 3.
I like him not, nor stands it safe with us to let his madness range. Therefore prepare you, I your commission will forthwith dispatch, and he to England shall along with you. The terms of our estate may not endure hazard so dangerous as doth hourly grow out of his lunacies.
We will ourselves provide. Most holy and religious fear it is to keep those many, many bodies safe that live and feed upon your majesty.
The single and peculiar life is bound with all the strength and armor of the mind to keep itself from annoyance, but much more that spirit upon whose will depends and rests the lives of many. The cess of majesty dies not alone, but like a gulf doth draw what's near it with it. Or it is a massy will fixed on the summit of the highest mount, to whose huge spokes 10,000 lesser things are mortised and adjoined, which, when it falls, each small annexment, petty consequence, attends the boisterous ruin. Never alone did the king sigh, but with a general groan.
Arm you, I pray you, to this speedy voyage, for we will fetters put upon this fear which now goes too free-footed.
We will
We will
haste, my
haste
lord.
us.
My lord, he's going to his mother's closet. Behind the arras, I'll convey myself to hear the process. I warrant she'll tax him home, and as you said, and wisely was it said, 'tis meet that some more audience than a mother, since nature makes them partial, should o'erhear this speech of vantage. Fare you well, my liege. I'll call upon you ere you go to bed and tell you what I know.
Thanks, dear my lord. Oh. My offense is rank. It smells to heaven. It hath the primal eldest curse upon a brother's murder. Pray, can I not, though inclination be as sharp as will? My stronger guilt defeats my strong intent. And like a man to double business bound, I stand and pause where I shall first begin, and both neglect. What if this cursed hand were thicker than itself with brother's blood? Is there not rain enough in the sweet heavens to wash it white as snow? Whereto serves mercy but to confront the visage of offense? And what's in prayer but this twofold force, to be forestalled ere we come to fall, or pardoned being down? Then I'll look up. My fault is past. Oh, but oh, what form of prayer can serve my turn? Forgive me my foul murder? It cannot be. That I'm still possessed of those effects for which I did the murder. My crown, mine own ambition, and my queen. May one be pardoned and retain the offense? The corrupted currents of this world, offence's gilded hand may shove by justice, and oft 'tis seemed the wicked prize itself buys out the law. But 'tis not so above. There is no shuffling. There the action lies in his true nature. We ourselves compelled even to the teeth and forehead of our faults to give an evidence. What then? What rests? Try what repentance can. What can it not? Yet what can it when one cannot repent? Oh, wretched state! Oh, bosom black as death! Oh, libid soul that's struggling to be free art more engaged! Oh, help, angels! Make us say, thou stubborn knees, and heart with strings of steel, be soft as sinews of the newborn babe. All may be well.
Now might I do it, Pat. Now he is a-praying, and now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven. And so I am revenged, but be scanned. A villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, do the same villain send to heaven? This is higher in salary, not revenge. He took my father grossly, full of bread with all crimes broad blown, as flush as May, and now his audit stands who knows save heaven? But our circumstance and our course of thought is heavy with him. And am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit in season for his passage? No. Up sword. And know thou a more horrid hint when he is drunk or asleep or in his rage or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed, a game of swearing or about some act that has no relish of salvation in it, then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as hell whereto it goes. My mother stays this physic, but prolongs thy sickly days.
My words fly up. My thoughts remain below. Oh, words without.
He will come straight. Look you lay home to him. Tell him his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace hath screened and stood between much heat and him. I'll silence me even here. Pray you be round with him.
Mother, mother, mother!
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Oh, mother, thy father has much offended.
Come, you answer with an idle tongue.
Go, you question with a wicked tongue.
Why, how now, Hamlet?
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
No, by the rod, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and when it were not so, you are my mother.
Nay, then I'll set those to you that can speak.
Come and sit you down. You shall not budge, you shall not go, till I set upon a glass where you may see the inmost part of you.
What wilt thou do? That wilt not murder me. Help!
What? Oh, help! Help! Help!
How now a rat dead for a ducat dead?
Oh, I am slain.
Oh, me! What hast thou done?
No, not of. Is it the king?
Oh, what a rash and bloody deed this is.
Bloody deed? Almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry his brother.
As kill a king?
Aye, lady, 'twas my word. Oh, thou wretched rash, intruding fool. Farewell. I took thee for the better. Take that fortune thou find'st to be she's busy in some danger. Leave wringing of your hands, peace, set you down, and let me wring your heart, for so shall it may be made a penetrable stuff, if damned custom have not brassed it so that it is proof and bulwark against sense.
What have I done that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me?
That blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rouse from the fair forehead of an innocent love, and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dicer's oaths. Oh, such a deed as from thy body of contraction plucks thy very soul, and sweet religion makes a rhapsody of words. Heaven's face doth glow, or the solidity and compound mass with tristful visage against the doom is thought sick at the act.
I mean, what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index?
Here upon this picture, and on this the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See, what a grace was seated on this brow. Hyperion's curls in front of Jove himself, and eyes like Mars with threatening command. The station that the herald of Mercury knew lighted a heaven-kissing hill. A combination of form indeed, where every god did seem to set his seal, to give the word assurance of a man. This was your husband. Look you now what follows. Here is your husband, like a mildewed ear, blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor? Have you eyes? You cannot call it love, for at your age the heyday is the blood is tame, it's humble, and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would steep from this to this? Since sure you have, else could you not have made motion. Be sure that sense is perplexed, for madness would not err, nor sense to ecstasy was never the thrall, but reserved some quantity of choice to serve in such a difference. What devil was it that this has cozened you at hoodman blind? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling sense all, or but a sickly part of one true sense. Could not so mope. Oh, shame, shame! Where's thy blush? Rebellious hell, if you cannot mutine in a matron's bones of flaming youth, let virtue be as wax and melt in her own fire. Proclaim no shame when the compulsive ardor give the charge, since frost itself as actively doth burn and reason parters will.
Oh, Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turnest my eyes into my very soul, and there I see such blood. Will not live there, take
Of an insane bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love o'er the nasty stuff.
No, speak to me no more. These words like daggers enter in my ears. No more, sweet Hamlet.
A murderer and a villain, a slave that does not put his part of tithe of your president lord, a vice of kings, a cut purse of the empire, and the rule that from a shell the precious diadem stole, and put in his pocket a
no more
of fruits and patches. Save me, and hover over me with your wings. You heavenly guards, what would your gracious figure?
Alas, he is mad.
Do not come, your tardy son to chide, that lapse in time and passion. Let's go by and by the more important acting of your dread command. Oh, say!
Do not forget. This visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul. Conceit in weakest bodies, strongest works. Speak to her, Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
Alas, how is it with you that you do bend your eye on vacancy and with incorporeal air to hold discourse? Forth at your eyes your spirits wildly peep, and as the sleeping soldiers in the alarm, your bedded hair like life and excrements start up and stand an end. Oh, gentle son, upon the heat and flame of thy distemper, sprinkle cool patience. Whereon do you look?
On him! On him, look you how pale he glares! His form and cause conjoined, precious as stones, would make them capable. Do not look upon me! Through the finer sight you convert my stern effects, and what I have to do. Who want true color, fierce penchant for blood.
To whom do you speak this?
Do you see nothing there?
Nothing at all, yet all is thy.
Do you hear nothing?
No, nothing but ourselves.
Look, you there! Look how it steals away. My father in his habit as he lived. Look where he goes even now out of the portal.
And this is the very coinage of your brain. Hamlet, this bodiless creation, ecstasy is very cunning in.
Ecstasy! My pulse is yours, doth temporarily keep time and makes as hearthful music. It is not madness that I have uttered. Bringing the test and the matter with reword with madness would gamble from. Mother, for the love of grace, lay not flattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass but my madness speaks. It will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whilst rank corruption, mining all within infects unseen. Confess yourself to heaven, repent what's past, and avoid what is to come. And do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them rancor. Forgive me, this is my virtue. For in the fatness of these pursy times, virtue itself of vice must pardon beg, yea, curb and woo for leave to do him good.
Oh, Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
You throw away the worser part of it and live the pure with the heart of the self. Good night, but go not into mine uncle's bed. Assume a virtue if you have it not. That monster, custom, who all sense doth eat of habit's devil, is angel yet in this, that in the use of actions fair and good, he likewise gives a frock or livery that aptly is put on. Refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy. For you almost can change the stamp of nature, and either reign the devil or throw him out with wondrous potency. Oh, once more, good night. When you are desirous to be blessed, I'll blessing beg of you. For this same Lord, dead, I do repent. But heaven hath pleased it so to punish me with this, and this with me, that I must be their scourge and minister. I will bestow him and will answer well the death I gave him. So again, good night. I must be cruel only to be kind. Thus bad begins and worse remains behind. One more, good lady.
What shall I do?
Nay, this by no means that I bid you do. Let that bloat king tempt you to bed again. Pinch wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, and let him for a pair of reachy kisses, or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you to ravel out all his matter. That I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft. 'Twere good you let him know, for that but a queen, fair, sober, and wise, would from a paddock, from a bat, gib such dear concernings hide? Who would do so? No, in spite of sense and secrecy, unpeg the basket on the house's top. Let the birds fly and act like the famous ape to try conclusions in the basket creep and break your own neck down.
Be thou assured, if words be made of breath, and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me.
I must to England go. You know that.
Alas, I had forgot.
There's letters
It is
sealed.
so concluded on.
There's letters sealed. And my 2 schoolfellows, whom I will trust, so otters fanged, they bear the mandate. They must sweep my way in harsel mid knavery. Let it work. For 'tis a sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petard, and I shall go hard, but I will delve 1 yard below their minds. I will blow them at the moon. Oh, 'tis most sweet when in one line 2 crafts directly meet. This man shall set me packing. I'll lug the guts into the neighbor room. Mother, good night. Indeed, this counselor is now most still, most secret, and most grave, who was in life a foolish, prating knave. Come, sir, to draw toward an end with you. Good night, mother.
Act 4, Scene 1.
There's matter in these sighs, these profound heaves. You must translate. 'Tis fit we understand them. Where is your son?
Bestow this place on us a little while. Oh, mine own lord, what I have seen tonight.
What, Gertrude? How does Hamlet?
Mad as the sea and wind when both contend which is the mightier. In his lawless fit behind the arras, hearing something astir, whips out his rapier, cries, a rat, and in his brainish apprehension kills the unseen good old man.
Oh, a heavy deed. It had been so with us had we been there. His liberty is full of threats to all, to you yourself, to us, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It will be laid to us, whose providence should have kept short, restrained it out of haunt this mad young man. But so much was our love, we would not understand what was most fit, but like the owner of a foul disease, to keep it from divulging, let it feed even on the pith of life. Where is he gone?
To draw apart the body he hath killed, or whom his very madness, like some ore among a mineral of metals base, shows itself pure, and weeps for what it has done.
Oh, Gertrude, come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence, and this vile deed we must, with all our majesty and skill, both countenance and excuse. Oh, Guildenstern! Ah, friends both, go join you in some further aid. Hamlet in madness hath Polonius slain, and from his mother's closet hath he dragged him. Go, seek him out, speak fair, and bring the body into the chapel. I pray you hasten this. Come, Gertrude, we'll call upon our wisest friends and let them know both what we mean to do and what's untimely done. Oh, come away. My soul is full of discord and dismay.
Act 4, Scene 2.
Ah, safely stowed.
Hamlet, Lord Hamlet.
Ah, but soft what noise? Who calls on Hamlet? Ah, here they.
What have you done, my lord, with the dead body?
Compounded it with dust whereto 'tis kin.
Tell us where 'tis that we may take it thence and bear it to the chapel.
Do not believe it.
Believe what?
That I can keep your counsel and not mine own. Besides, to be a damned of a sponge, what replication should be made by the son of a king?
Take you me for a sponge, my lord.
I, sir, that soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards, his authorities, but such officers to the king best service in the end. He keeps them like an ape in the corner of his jaw, first mouthed to be last, swallowed when he needs what you have need. It is but squeezing you and sponge. You shall be dry again.
I understand you not, my lord.
I am glad of it. A knavish speech sleeps in a foolish ear.
My lord, you must tell us where the body is and go with us to the king.
The body is with the king. The king is not with the body. The king is a thing.
A thing, my lord.
Of nothing. Bring me to him, hide fox and all after.
Act 4, Scene 3.
I have sent to seek him and to find the body. How dangerous is it that this man goes loose? Yet must not we put the strong law on him? He's loved of the distracted multitude, who like not in their judgment, but their eyes. And where 'tis so, the offender's scourge is weighed, but never the offense. To bear all smooth and even, this sudden sending him away must seem deliberate pause. Diseases desperate grown by desperate appliance are relieved, or not at all. How now? What hath befallen?
Where the dead body is bestowed, my lord, we cannot get from him.
But where is he?
Without, my lord, guarded, to know your pleasure.
Bring him before us.
Ho! Bring him the lord.
Now, Hamlet, where's Polonius?
At supper.
At supper? Where?
Not where he eats, but where he is eaten. A certain convocation of politic worms are eaten at him. Your worm is your only emperor for diet. We fat, all creatures are else fat to us, and we fat ourselves for maggots. Your fat king and your lean beggar is but variable service, 2 dishes, but to 1 table. That's the end.
Alas, alas.
A man may fish with a worm that hath eat of a king, and eat of the fish that hath fed off that worm.
What dost you mean by this?
Nothing, but to show you how a king may go through a progress through the guts of a beggar.
Where is Polonius?
In heaven. Send hither to see. If your messenger find him not there, seek him in the other place yourself. But if indeed you find him not within this month, you shall nose him as you go up the stairs into the lobby.
Go seek him there.
He will stay until you come.
Hamlet, this deed for thine especial safety, which we do tender, as we dearly grieve for that which thou hast done, must send thee hence with fiery quickness. Therefore prepare thyself. The bark is ready and the winded help, the associates 10, and everything is bent for England.
For England?
Aye, Hamlet.
Good.
So is it, if thou knowest our purposes.
I see a cherub that sees them, but come, for England. Farewell, dear mother.
Thy loving father, Hamlet.
Oh, my mother. Mother and father is man and wife. Man and wife is one flesh, and so my mother. Come for England!
Follow him at foot. Tempt him with speed aboard. Delay it not. I'll have him hence tonight. Away! For everything is sealed and done that else leads on the affair. Pray you, make haste. And England, if my love thou hold'st at aught, as my great power thereof may give thee sense, since yet thy cicatrice looks raw and red after the Danish sword, and thy free awe pays homage to us. Thou mayst not coldly set our sovereign process, which imports it full by letters congruing to that effect, the present death of Hamlet. Do it, England, for like the hectic in my blood, he rages, and thou must cure me. Till I know 'tis done, however mayhaps my joys were ne'er begun.
Act 4, Scene 4.
Go, captain, from me greet the Danish king. Tell him that by his license, Fortinbras craves the conveyance of a promised march over his kingdom. You know the rendezvous. If that his majesty would aught with us, we shall express our duty in his eye, and let him know so.
I will do it, my lord.
Go softly on.
Good sir, whose power are these?
They are of Norway, sir.
How purposed, sir, I pray you?
Against some part of Poland.
Who commands them, sir?
The nephew to old Norway, Fortinbras.
Goes against the main of Poland, sir, or for some frontier?
Truly to speak, and with no addition, we go to gain a little patch of ground that hath in it no profit but the name. To pay 5 ducats, 5, I would not farm it. Nor will it yield to Norway or the Pole a ranker rate should it be sold in fee.
Why then the Polak never will defend it?
Yes, it is already garrisoned.
2,000 souls and 20,000 ducats will not debate the question of the straw. 'Tis the imposthume of much wealth and peace that inward breaks and shows no cause without why the man dies. I humbly thank you, sir.
God be with you, sir.
Will't please you go, my lord?
I will be with you straight, go a little before. All occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and to feed? A beast, no more. Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not the capability and godlike reason to fuss in us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which courted hath but 1 part wisdom or 3 parts coward. I do not know why yet I live to say these things to do. So that I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition puffed makes mouths an invisible event, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all this fortal death and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly to be great is not to stir without great argument, but kindly to find quarrel in the straw when honor's at the stake. How stand I then, that have a father killed, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep? While to shame I see the imminent death of 20,000 men that for a fantasy and trick of fame go to their graves like beds, fight for a plied whereon the numbers cannot try its cause. Much is not tomb enough and continent to hide the slain? From this time forth my thoughts be bloody and nothing more.
Act 4, Scene 5.
I will not speak with her.
She's importante, indeed distract. Her moods will needs be pities.
What would she have?
She speaks much of her father. She says she hears there's tricks in the world, and hymns, and beats her heart. Spurns enviously at straws, speaks things in doubt that carry but half sense. Her speech is nothing, yet the unshaped use of it doth move the hearers to collection. They aim at it, and botch the words up to fit their own thoughts, which, as her winks and nods and gestures yield them, indeed, would make one think that there might be thought, though nothing sure, yet much unhappily.
'Twere good she were spoken with, for she may strew dangerous conjectures and ill-breeding minds.
Oh, let her come in. To my sick soul, as sin's true nature is, each toy seems prologue to some great amiss, so full of artless jealousy as guilt, it spills itself in fearing to be spilt.
Where is the beauteous majesty of Denmark?
How now, Ophelia?
How should I your true love know from another one? By his cockle hat and staff, and his sandals shoe.
Alas, sweet lady, what imports this song?
Say you? Nay, pray you mark. He is dead and gone, lady. He is dead and gone. At his head a grass-green turf, at his heels a stone.
Nay, but Ophelia.
Say, pray you mark! White his shroud as the mountain snow.
Lord, yes, look here, my lord.
Which bewept to the ground did not go with true love showers.
How do you, pretty lady?
Oh, God healed you. They say the owl was a baker's daughter. Lord, we know not what we are, nor what we may be. God be at your table.
Conceit upon a father.
Oh, pray you, let's have no words of this, but when they ask you what it means, say you this. Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day, all in the morning betime, and I, a maid at your window, to be your Valentine. Then up he rose and donned his clothes and ducked the chamber door. Let in a maid, then out a maid, never departed more.
Pretty Ophelia.
Indeed, without an oath I'll make an end on it. By Gis and by Saint Charity, alack and fie for shame. Young men will do it if they come to it, by cock they are to blame. Quoth she, before you tumbled me, you promised me to wed. He answers, so would I had done by yonder sun, if thou hadst not come to my bed.
How long hath she been thus?
I hope all will be well. We must be patient, but I cannot choose but weep to think they should lay him in the cold ground. My brother shall know of it, and so I thank you for your good counsel. Come, my coach! Good night, ladies. Good night, sweet ladies. Good night. Good night.
Follow her close. Give her good watch, I pray you. Oh, this is the poison of deep grief. It springs all from her father's death. Oh, Gertrude, Gertrude, when sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in battalions. First her father slain, next your son gone, and he most violent author of his own just remove. The people muddy, thick and unwholesome in their thoughts and whispers for good Polonius' death, and we have done but greenly and hugger-mugger to inter him. For Ophelia divided from herself and her fair judgment, without the which we are pictures or mere beasts. Last, and as much containing all of these, her brother is in secret come from France, feeds on his wonder, keeps himself in clouds, and wants not buzzers to infect his ear with pestilent speeches of his father's death. Our necessities of matter beggared, will nothing stick our person to a rein in ear and ear. Oh, my dear Gertrude, this, like to a murdering piece in many places, gives me superfluous death.
Alack, what noise is this?
Where are my Switzers? Let them guard the door. What is the matter?
Save yourself, my lord. The ocean, overpeering off of his list, eats not the flats with more impietous hate than young Laertes. In a riotous head, overbears your officers. The rabble call him lord, and as it were the world, but now to begin antiquity forgot. Custom not known, the ratifiers and props of every word. They cry, choose we, Laertes shall be king. Caps, hands, and tongues applaud to the clouds. Laertes shall be king, Laertes king.
How cheerfully on the false trail they cry. Oh, this is counter, you false Danish dogs.
The doors are broke!
Where is this king? Sirs, stand you all without.
No, let's come in.
I pray you, give me leave.
We will, we will.
I thank you. Keep the door. O thou vile king, give me my father.
Humbly, good Laertes.
That drop of blood that's calm proclaims me bastard. Cries cuckold to my father, brands the harlot, even here between the chaste, unsmirched brow of my true mother.
What is the cause, Laertes, that thy rebellion looks so giant-like? Let him go, Gertrude. Do not fear our person. The such divinity doth hedge a king, that treason can but peep to what it would, acts little of his will. Tell me, Laertes, why thou art thus incensed. Let him go, Gertrude. Speak, man.
Where is my father?
Dead.
But not by him.
Let him demand his fill.
How came he dead? I'll not be juggled with. To hell allegiance, vows to the blackest devil, conscience and grace to the profoundest pit. I dare damnation. To this point I stand, that both the worlds I give to negligence. Let come what comes, only I'll be revenged most thoroughly for my father.
Who shall stay you?
My will, not all the worlds. And for my means, I'll husband them so well, they shall go far with little.
Good Laertes, if you desire to know the certainty of your dear father's death, it's written your revenge that sweepstake you will draw both friend and foe, winner and loser.
None but his enemies.
Will you know them then?
His good friends, thus wide I'll open my arms, and like the kind life-rendering pelican, repast them with my blood.
Why, now you speak like a good child and a true gentleman. That I am guiltless of your father's death, and am most sensible in grief for it, it shall as level to your judgment pierce as day does to your eye.
How now? What noise is that? Oh, heat, dry up my brains. Tears 7 times salt, burn out the sense and virtue in mine eye. By heaven, thy madness shall be paid by weight till our scale turn the beam. O rose of May, dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia. O heavens, is it possible a young maid's wits should be as mortal as an old man's life? Nature is fine in love, and where 'tis fine, it sends some precious instance of itself after the thing it loves.
They bore him barefaced on the bier. Hey nonny, nonny, hey nonny, and in his grave rained many a tear. Fare you well, my dove.
Hadst thou wits, and didst persuade revenge, it could not move thus.
You must sing adown, and you call him adown. Oh, how a wheel becomes it. It is a false steward that stole his master's daughter.
There's nothing's more than matter.
There's rosemary, that's for remembrance. Pray you, love, remember. And there's pansies, that's for thoughts.
A document in madness, thoughts and remembrances fitted.
There's fennel for you and columbines. There's rue for you and there's some for me. We call it herb of grace on Sundays. Oh, you must wear your rue with a difference. There's a daisy. I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died. They say he made a good end. For his bonny sweet robin is all my joy.
Thought and affliction, passion, hell itself, she turns to favor and to prettiness.
And will he not come again? And will he not come again? No, he is dead. Go to thy deathbed. He never will come again. His beard was as white as snow, all flaxen was his poll. He is gone, he is gone, and we cast away. Oh, God have mercy on his soul. and of all Christian souls, I pray God. God be with ye.
Do you see this, O God?
Laertes, I must commune with your grief or you deny me right. Go but apart. Make choice of whom your wisest friends you will, and they shall hear and judge twixt you and me. If by direct or by collateral hand they find us touched, we will our kingdom give, our crown, our life, and all that we can ours to you in satisfaction. But if not, be you content to lend your patience to us, and we shall jointly labor with your soul to give it due content.
Let this be so. His means of death, his obscure funeral, no trophy, sword, nor hatchment o'er his bones, no noble right, nor formal ostentation. Cry to be heard as it were from heaven to earth, that I must call it in question.
So you shall, and where the offense is, let the great axe fall. I pray you, go with me.
Act 4, Scene 6.
What are they that would speak with me?
Seafaring men, sir. They say they have letters for you.
Let them come in. I do not know from what part of the world I should be greeted if not from Lord Hamlet.
God bless you, sir.
Let him bless thee too.
He shall, sir, and to please him. There's a letter for you, sir. It comes from the ambassador that was bound for England. If your name be Horatio, as I am, let it know it be.
Horatio, when thou shalt overlooked this, give these fellows some means to the king. They have letters for him. Ere we were 2 days old at sea, a pirate of very warlike appointment gave us chase. Finding ourselves too slow of sail, we put on a compelled valor, and in the grapple I boarded them. On the instant they got clear of our ship, so I alone became their prisoner. If dealt with me like thieves of mercy, but they knew what they did, I am to do a good turn for them. Let the king have the letters I have sent, and repair thou to me with as much speed as thou wouldest fly death. I have words to speak in thine ear, or make thee dumb. Yet are they much too light for the bore of the matter. These good fellows will bring thee where I am. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern hold their course for England. Of them I have much to tell thee. Farewell. He that thou knowest thine Hamlet. Come, I will make you way for these your letters, and do it the speedier, that you may direct me to him from you who brought them.
Act 4, Scene 7.
Now must your conscience my acquaintance seal, and you must put me in your heart for friend, sith you have heard and with a knowing ear that he which hath your noble father slain pursued my life.
It well appears, but tell me, why you proceeded not against these feats so criminal and capital in nature, as by your safety, wisdom, all things else, you mainly were stirred up.
Oh, for 2 special reasons, which may to you perhaps seem much unsinewed, but yet to me they're strong. Aquina's mother lives almost by his looks, and for myself, my virtue or my plague, be it either which, she's so conjunctive to my life and soul, that as the star moves not but in his sphere, I could not but by her. The other motive, why to a public count I might not go, is the great love the general gender bear him, who dipping all his faults in their affection would, like the spring that turneth wood to stone, convert his gyves to graces, so that my arrows, too slightly timbered for so loud a wind, would have reverted to my bow again, and not where I had aimed them.
And so have I a noble father lost, a sister driven into desperate terms, whose worth, if praises may go back again, stood challenger on mount of all the age for her perfections. But my revenge will come.
Break not your sleeves for that. You must not think that we are made of stuff so flat and dull that we can let our beard be shook with danger and think it past time. You shortly shall hear more. I loved your father, and we love ourselves, and that I hope will teach you to imagine. How now? What news?
Letters, my lord, from Hamlet. This is to your majesty, this to the queen.
From Hamlet? Who brought them?
Sailors, my lord, they say. I saw them not. They were given to me by Claudio. He received them of him that brought them.
Laertes, you shall hear them. Leave us. High and mighty, you shall know I am set naked on your kingdom. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes, when I shall, first asking your pardon thereunto, recount the occasion of my sudden and more strange return. Hamlet. What should this mean? Are all the rest come back, or is it some abuse and no such thing?
Know you the hand?
'Tis Hamlet's character. Naked. And in a postscript here, he says, alone. Can you advise me?
I'm lost in it, my lord, but let him come. It warms the very sickness in my heart, that I shall live and tell him to his teeth, thus didst thou.
If it be so, Laertes, as how should it be so? How otherwise? Will you be ruled by me?
Aye, my lord. So you will not o'errule me to a peace.
To thine own peace. If he be now returned as checking at his voyage, and that he means no more to undertake it, I will work him to an exploit now ripe in my device, under the which he shall not choose but fall. And for his death, no wind of blame shall breathe, but even his mother shall uncharge the practice and call it accident.
My lord, I will be ruled. The rather if you could devise it so that I might be the organ.
It falls right. You have been talked of since you travel much, and that in Hamlet's hearing, for a quality wherein they say you shine. Your sum of parts did not together pluck such envy from him as did that one, and that in my regard of the unworthiest siege.
What part is that, my lord?
A very riband in the cap of youth, yet needful too, for youth no less becomes the light and careless livery that it wears, than settled age, his sables and his weeds, importing health and graveness. 2 months since, here was a gentleman of Normandy I have seen myself, and served against the French, and they can well on horseback. For this gallant had witchcraft in't. He grew unto his seat, and to such wondrous doing brought his horse as he had been encorpsed and demi-natured with the brave beast. So far he topped my thought, that I in forgery of shapes and tricks come short of what he did.
A Norman, was it?
Norman.
Upon my life, Lamont!
The very same.
I know him well. He's the brooch indeed, and gem of all the nation.
He made confession of you, and gave you such a masterly report for art and exercise in your defense, and for your rapier most especially, that he cried out, "'Twould be a sight indeed, if one could match you." The skirmers of their nation, he swore, had neither motion, God, nor eye, if you oppose them. So this report of his did Hamlet so envenom with his envy, that he could nothing do but wish and beg your sudden coming o'er to play with him. Now, out of this.
What out of this, my lord?
Laertes, was your father dear to you? Or are you like the painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart?
Why ask you this? How could you?
Not that I think you did not love your father, but that I know love is begun by time, and that I see in passages of proof time qualifies the spark and fire of it. There lives within the very flame of love a kind of wick or snuff that will abate it, and nothing is at a like goodness still. For goodness, growing to a pleurisy, dies in his own too much. That we would do, we should do when we would. For this would changes, and hath abatements and delays as many there are tongues, our hands are accidents. And then this should is like a spendthrift's sigh that hurts by easing. But to the quick of the ulcer, Hamlet comes back. What would you undertake to show yourself your father's son indeed more than in words?
To cut his throat in the church.
No place indeed should murder sanctuarize. Revenge should have no bounds. But, good Laertes, will you do this? Keep close within your chamber. Hamlet returned shall know you are come home, will put on those shall praise your excellence and set a double varnish on the fame the Frenchman gave you, bring you in fine together, and wager on your heads. He being remiss, most generous, and free from all contriving, will not peruse the foils, so that with ease or with a little shuffling you may choose a sword unbaited, and in a passive practice requite him for your father.
I will do it, and for that purpose I'll anoint my sword. I bought an unction of a mountebank, so mortal that, but dip a knife in it, where it draws blood, no cataplasm so rare, collected from all simples that have virtue under the moon, can save the thing from death, that is but scratched withal. I'll touch my point with this contagion, that if I gall him slightly, it may be death.
Let's further think of this. Weigh what convenience both of time and means may fit us to our shape. If this should fail, and that our drift look through our bad performance, 'twere better not essayed. Therefore this project should have a back or a second that might hold if this should blast and proof. Soft. Let me see. We'll make a solemn wager on your cunnings. I have. When in your motion you are hot and dry, as make your mouth more violent to that end, and that he calls for drink, I'll have prepared him a chalice for the nonce, whereon but sipping, if he by chance escape your venom stuck, our purpose may hold there. How now, sweet queen?
One woe doth tread upon another's heel, so fast they follow. Your sister's drowned, Laertes.
Drowned? Oh, where?
There is a willow grows ascant the brook that shows his hoary leaves in the glassy stream. There with fantastic garlands did she make of crowflowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples that liberal shepherds give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There, on the pendant boughs, her coronet weeds, clamoring to hang an envious sliver, broke, when down her reedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook, her clothes spread wide and mermaid-like, a while they bore her up, which time she chaunted snatches of old lauds as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and endued unto that element. But long it could not be, till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death.
Alas, then she is drowned.
Drowned.
Too much of water hast thou, poor Ophelia, and therefore I forbid my tears. But yet it is our trick. Nature her custom holds. Let shame say what it will. When these are gone, the woman will be out. Adieu, my lord. I have a speech of fire that fain would blaze, but that this folly doubts it.
Let's follow, Gertrude. How much I had to do to calm his rage. Now fear I this will give it start again. Therefore, let's follow.
Act 5, Scene 1.
Is she to be buried in Christian burial when she willfully seeks her own salvation?
I tell thee she is, and therefore make her grave straight. The crowner hath sat on her, and finds it Christian burial.
How can that be, unless she drowned herself in her own defense?
Why, 'tis found so.
It must be, say, offendendo, it cannot be else. For here lies the point. If I drown myself wittingly, it argues an act. And an act hath 3 branches. It is to act, to do, to perform. Argal, she drowned herself wittingly.
Nay, but hear you, good man, Delver.
Give me leave. Here lies the water. Good. Here stands the man. Good. If the man go to his water and drown himself, it is will he, nil he goes. Mark you that. But if the water come to him and drown him, he drowns not himself. Argal, he that is not guilty of his own death shortens not his own life.
But is this law?
Aye, marry, 'tis Crowner's Quest law.
Well, you hath the truth on it. If this had not been a gentle woman, she should have been buried out of Christian burial.
Why, there thou sayest. And the more pity that great folk should have countenance in this world to drown or hang themselves more than they're even Christian. Come, my spade. This is no ancient gentleman, but gardeners, ditchers, and grave makers. They hold up Adam's profession.
Was he a gentleman?
He was the first that ever bore arms.
Why, he had none?
What, art a heathen? How dost thou understand the scripture? The scripture says Adam digged. Could he dig without arms? Well, I'll put another question to thee. If thou answerest me not to the purpose, confess thyself.
Go to.
What is he that builds stronger than either the mason, the shipwright, or the carpenter?
The gallows maker, for that frame outlives 1,000 tenants.
I like thy wit well, in good faith. The gallows does well, but how does it well? It does well to those that do ill. Now thou dost ill to say the gallows is built stronger than the church. Okay, the gallows may do well to thee, to it again, come.
Who builds stronger than a mason, a shipwright, or a carpenter?
Aye, tell me that and unyoke.
Married, now I can tell.
To it?
Mass, I cannot tell.
Cudgel thy brains no more about it, for your dull ass will not mend his pace with beating. And when you are asked this question next, say, a grave maker. The houses that he makes last till doomsday. Go, get thee in, fetch me a stoup of liquor. In youth, when I did love, methought it was very sweet to contract the time, for all my behoove me bethought there was nothing meet.
Has this fellow no feeling of his business? He sings at grave making.
Custom hath made it in him a property of easiness.
Even so, the hand of little employment had the daintier sense.
But age with his stealing steps hath clawed me in his church, and hath shipped me into the land as if I had never been such.
That skull had a tongue in it, could sing once. How the knave jowls to the ground as it were like Cain's jawbone that did the first murder. It might be the pate of a politician, which this ass now o'erreaches, one that would circumvent God, might it not?
It might, my lord.
Or a courtier which could say, Good morrow, sweet lord, how dost thou, good lord? This might be my lord such a one, that praised my lord such a one's how our swinny meant to beg it, might it not?
Aye, my lord.
Why, e'en so, and now my lady Worms, Chapless knocked about the mass with the sexton's spade. Here's fine revolution, and we had the trick to see it. Do these bones cost no more the breeding, but to play of lockets at them? Mine ache to think of it.
A pickaxe and a spade for and a shrouding sheet. Oh, a pit of clay for to be made for such a quest is neat.
There's another. Why may not that be the skull of a lawyer? Where be his quiddities now, his quilities, his cases, his tenures, and his tricks? Why does he suffer this rude knave not to knock him about the sconce with a dirty shovel and will not tell him of his action of battery? This fellow might be in time a great buyer of land, with his statutes, his recognizances, his fines, his double vouchers, his recoveries. Is this the fine of his fines and the recovery of his recoveries to have his fine pate full of fine dirt? Will his vouchers vouch him no more of his purchases and double one fines too? The length and breadth of a pair of indentures? The very conveyances of this land will hardly lie in this box. And must the inheritor himself have no more? Ha!
Not a jot more, my lord.
Is this not parchment made of sheepskins?
Aye, my lord, and of calfskins too.
Aye, then there are sheep and calves which seek out assurance in that. I will speak to this fellow. Whose grave is this, sir?
Mine, sir. Oh, a pit of clay for to be made for such a guest as meet.
I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it.
You lie out on it, sir, and therefore it is not yours. For my part, I do not lie in it, and yet it is mine.
Thou dost lie in it and be in it and say it is thine. 'Tis nor for the dead nor for the quick. Therefore thou liest.
'Tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill away gain from me to you.
What man dost thou dig it for?
For no man, sir.
What woman then?
For none, neither.
Who's to be buried in it?
One that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead.
How absolute the knave is! We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord, Horatio, these 3 years I've taken a note of it. The age is grown so picked that the toe of the peasant comes so near to heel the courtier he get calls his kind. How long hast thou been a gravedigger?
Of all the days of the year, I came to that day that our last King Hamlet overcame Fortinbras.
How long is that since?
Cannot you tell that? Every fool can tell that. It was the very day that young Hamlet was born and sent into England.
Aye, Mary, why was he sent to England?
Why? Because he was mad. He shall recover his wits there, or if he do not, it's no great matter there.
Why?
'Twill not be seen in him there. There the men are as mad as he.
How can he be mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Faith, even with losing his wits.
On what ground?
Why, here in Denmark. I've been sexton here, man and boy, 30 years.
How long will a man lie in the earth ere he rot?
Faith, if he be not rotten before he die, as we have many pocky coursed nowadays that will scarcely hold the laying in, he will last some 8 year or 9 year. A tenor will last you 9 year.
Why he more than another?
Why, sir, his hide is so tan that his trade, that he will keep out of water a great while, and your water is a sore decayer of your horse undead body. Here's a skull now. The skull has lain in the earth 23 years.
Whose was it?
A horse on mad fellows it was. Whose do you think it was?
Well, nay, I know not.
A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. He poured a flagon on Renishes on my head once. This same skull, sir, was Yorick's skull, the king's jester.
This?
He napped.
Let me see it. Alas, poor York. I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now how abhorred in my imagination it is. My gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed, and now, not how oft. Where be your jibes now, your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning. Ah, quite chapfallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber until I let her paint an inch thick. This favor she must come. Make her laugh at that. Really, Horatio, tell me one thing.
What's that, my lord?
Dost thou think Alexander looked to this fashion in the earth?
Even so.
And smelt so? Ugh.
Even so, my lord.
To what base use may return, Horatio? Why may not imagination trace the noble dust of Alexander till he find it stuffing a bunghole?
'Twere to consider too curiously to consider so.
No, faith, not a jot, but to follow him thither with modesty enough, and likelihood to lead it, as thus. Alexander died. Alexander was buried, turned to dust, the dust to earth, the earth of what we make a loam, and the why that loam whereto he was converted might not stop a beer barrel. Imperious Caesar dead, and turned to clay might stop a hole to keep the wind away. Oh, that earth which kept the world in awe should patch a wall, except in the winter's flaw. But soft a while. Here comes the king, the queen, the courtiers. Who is this they follow? And with such maimed rites this doth betoken the course they followed that despite hand foredo its own life? 'Twas some mistake, couch and while and mark.
What ceremony else?
That is Laertes, a very noble youth, mark.
What ceremony else?
Her obsequies have been as far enlarged as we have warranties. Her death was doubtful, and but that great command o'ersways the order, she should in ground unsanctified have lodged to the last trumpet, for charitable prayers, shards, flints, and pebbles should be thrown on her. Yet here she is allowed her virgin krantz, her maiden struments, and the bringing home of bell and burial.
Must there be no more done?
No more be done. We should profane the service of the dead to sing a requiem in such rest to her as to peace parted souls.
Lay her in the earth, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. I tell thee, churlish priest, a ministering angel shall my sister be, while thou liest howling.
What? The fair Ophelia?
Sweets to the sweet, farewell. I hope thou shouldst have been my Hamlet's wife. I thought thy bride bed to have decked, sweet maid, and not have strode thy grave.
O treble woe, fall 10 times treble on that cursed head, whose wicked deed thy most ingenious sense deprived thee of. Hold off the earth a while, till I have caught her once more in mine arms. Now, pile your dust upon the quickened dead, till of this flat a mountain you have made, till overtop old Pelion, or the skyish head of blue Olympus.
What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis, whose phrase of sorrow conjures the wandering stars and makes them stand like wonder-wounded hearers? This is I, Hamlet the Dane.
The devil take thy soul!
Christ, not well. I pray thee take my fingers from my throat, for though I am not a splinted and rash, yet I have something in me dangerous, which let thy wisdom fear. Hold off thy hand.
Pluck them asunder.
Hamlet! Hamlet!
Gentlemen!
My good lord, be quiet.
Why, I will fight with him upon this throne with my eyelids will no longer wag.
My son, what theme?
I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not, with all their quantity of love, make up my sum. What wilt thou do for her?
Oh, he is mad, Laertes.
For love of God, forbear him.
Well, show me what thou do. Weep? Fight? Fast? Tear thyself? Would you drink of Isol? Eat a crocodile? I'll do it. Dost thou come here to whine, to outface me with leaping in her grave? Be very quick with her, so I will. And if thou pray to mountains, let them throw millions of acres on us till our ground, singing his pate against the burning zone. Make us like a wart. Nay, and thou a mouth, I'll rant as well as thou.
This is mere madness, and thus while the fit will work on him. Anon, as patient as the female dove when that her golden couplets are disclosed, his silence will sit drooping.
Hear you, sir. What is the reason that you use me thus? I loved you ever, but it is no matter. Let Hercules himself do what he may. The cat will mew, and the dog will have his day.
I pray you, good Horatio, wait upon him. Strengthen your patience in our last night's speech. We'll put the matter to the present push. Good Gertrude, set some watch over your son. This grave shall have a living monument. An hour of quiet shortly shall we see. Till then, in patience our proceeding be.
Act 5, Scene 2.
So much for this, sir. Now, shall you see the other? You do remember all the circumstance?
Remember it, my lord.
Ah, sir, in my heart there was a kind of fighting that would not let me sleep. Methought I lay worse than the mutants in their bilboes rashly. And praise be Rashers for it. Let us know our indiscretion sometimes serves us well when our deep plots do fall, and that should teach us there's a divinity that shapes our ends, rough hew them how we will.
This is most certain.
Up from my cabin, my sea gown scarfed about me in the dark. Roved out to find out them, had my desire fingered their packet in the fine withdrew to mine own room again, making so bold my fears, forgetting manners to unseal their grand commission, where I found Horatio, royal knavery, an exact command, larded with many several sorts of reasons, imparting Denmark's health, and England's too, with such bugs and goblins in my life, that on the supervised, no leisure baited, no, not to say the grinding of the axe, my head should be struck off.
It's possible.
Here's the commission. read it at more leisure. But will thou hear me how I did proceed?
I beseech you.
Being thus bended rounded with villainies, ere I could make a prologue to my brains, they had begun the play. I sat me down, devised a new commission, wrote it fair, and I once did hold it, as our status do, a baseness to write fair, and labored much how to forget that learning. But sir, now it did me a yeoman's service. Wilt thou know the effect of what I wrote?
Aye, my good lord.
An earnest conjuration from the king, as England, with his faithful tributary, as love between them, that the palm might flourish, as peace should stiff her wheaten garland wear, and stand a comma tween the enmities, and much as such like as of great charge, that on the view and knowing of these contents, without debatement further more or less, he should the bears put to sudden death, not striving time allowed.
How was this sealed?
Why, even in that was heaven ordinate, I had my father's signet in my purse, which was the model of that Danish seal. Folded the writ up in the form of the other, subscribed it, gave the impression, placed it safely, the changeling never known. Now the next day was our sea fight, and what to this was sequent, thou knowest already.
So Guildenstern and Rosencrantz go to it.
Why, man, they did make love to this employment. They are not near my conscience. Their defeat does by their own insuation grow. 'Tis dangerous, when the baser nature comes between the pass and fell incessant points of mighty opposites.
Why, what a king is this?
Does it not, think thee? Stand me now upon. He that hath killed my king and whored my mother, popped him between the election and my hopes, thrown out of his angle of my prosper life, and with such cousinage is not respect and perfect conscience to quit him with his arm? Oh, and is not to be damned to let the canker out of the nature come in further evil?
It must be shortly known to him from England. What is the issue of the business there?
I will be short. The interim's mine. And a man's life no more than one to say one. But I'm very sorry. Good Horatio de Laertes, I have forgotten myself. For the image of my cause, I see the portraiture of his. I'll court his favors. But sure, the bravery of his grief did put me into a towering passion.
Peace. Who comes here?
Your lordship is right. Welcome back to Denmark.
I humbly thank you, sir. Dost thou know this waterfly?
No, my good lord.
This state is the more gracious, for 'tis a vice to know him. He hath much land and fertile. To a beast be lord of beasts, and his crib shall stand at the king's mess. 'Tis a cough, but as I say, spacious in the possession of dirge.
Sweet lord, if your lordship were at leisure, I should impart you a thing from his majesty.
I will receive it, sir, with all diligence of spirit. Put your bonnet to his right use. 'Tis for the head.
I thank your lordship. It is very hot.
No, I believe it is very cold. The wind is northerly.
It is indifferent cold, my lord, indeed.
But yet, methinks it is very sultry and hot for my complexion.
Exceedingly, my lord. It is very sultry. As 'twere, I cannot tell how. My lord, his majesty bade me signify to you that he has laid a great wager on your head. Sir, this is the matter.
I beseech you, remember.
Nay, good my lord, for mine ease. In good faith, sir, here is newly come to court Laertes. Believe me, an absolute gentleman, full of most excellent differences, a very soft society and great showing. Indeed, to speak feelingly of him, he is the card or calendar of gentry, for you shall find in him the continent of what a parted gentleman would see.
Sir, his defilement suffers no perdition in you, though I know to divide him inventorially would dizzy the arithmetic of memory, and yet but y'all neither, in respect of his quick sale. But in the verity of extolment, I take him to be a soul of great article, and his infusion of such dearth and rareness as to make true diction of him, his seemable is his mirror. And who else would trace him? His umbrage, nothing more.
Your lordship speaks very most infallibly of him.
The consonancy, sir. Why do we wrap the gentleman in our more raw breath?
Sir?
It's not possible to understand in another tongue? You will do it, sir, really.
What imports the nomination of this gentleman?
Of Laertes.
His purse is empty already. All's golden words are spent.
Of him, sir.
I know you are not ignorant.
I would you did, sir, yet in faith, if you did, it would not much approve me. Well, sir.
You are not ignorant of what excellence Laertes
I dare not
is.
confess that I less should compare with him in excellence, but to know a man well were to know himself.
I mean, sir, for his weapon, but in the imputation laid on him by them, in his meat he's unfellowed.
Well, what's his weapon?
Rapier and dagger.
That's two of his weapons, but well.
The king, sir, hath wagered him 6 Barbary horses, against the which he has him pawned. As I take it, 6 French rapiers and poniards with their assigns, as girdle hangers and so. 3 of the carriages, in faith, are very dear to fancy, very responsive to the hilts, most delicate carriages, and of very liberal conceit.
What call you the carriages?
I knew you must be edified by the margin ere you had done.
The carriages, sir, are the hangers.
The phrase would be more germane to the matter if we could carry cannon by our sides. Might be hangers till then, but on. 6 Barbary horses against 6 French swords, their assigns, and 3 liberal conceited carriages. That's the French bet against the Danish. Why is this impawned, as you call it?
The king, sir, hath laid that in a dozen passes between yourself and him. He shall not exceed you 3 hits. He hath laid on 12 for 9. And it would come to immediate trial if your lordship would vouchsafe the answer.
I'll answer no.
I mean, my lord, the opposition of your person in trial.
Sir, I will walk here in the hall. If it pleases his majesty, 'tis the breathing time of day with me. Let the foils be brought. The gentleman willing, and the king hold his purpose. I will win for him, and I can. If not, I will gain nothing but my shame in the audience.
Shall I redeliver you e'en so?
To this effect, sir, after what flourish your nature would.
I commend my duty to your lordship.
Yours. He does well to commend it himself. There are no tongues else for turns.
The lopping runs away with a shell in his head.
He did comply, sir, with his dug before he sucked it. Thus has he, and many more of the same bevy that I know the drowsy age dotes on. Only got the tune of the time and outward habit of encounter, a kind of yeasty collection which carries them through and through in the most fond and winnowed opinions, and do but blow them to the trial. The bubbles are out.
My lord, his majesty commended him to you by young Osric, who brings back to him that you attend him in the hall. He sends to know if your pleasure hold to play with Laertes, or that you will take longer time.
I am consistent to my purpose, and constant. They follow the king's pleasure. If his fitness speaks, mine is ready, now or whensoever, provided I be so able as now.
The king and queen and all are coming down.
In happy time.
The queen desires you to use some gentle entertainment to Laertes before you fall to play.
She well instructs me.
You will lose this wager, my lord.
I do not think so. Since he went to France, I have been in continual practice. I shall win the odds. But thou wouldst not think how is all here about my heart. But it is no matter.
Nay, good my lord.
It is but foolery. But it is such a kind of a gain-giving as would perhaps trouble a woman.
If your mind dislike anything, obey it. I will forestall their repair hither and say you are not fit.
Not a whit. We defy augury. There's a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be now, it's not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. Since no man of aught he leaves knows, what is to leave but times? Let be.
Come, Hamlet, come. Take this hand from me.
Give me your pardon, sir, I have done you wrong. But pardon is, you are a gentleman. This presence knows, and you must needs have heard, how I am punished with sore distraction. What I have done that might your nature, honor, and exception roughly like I here proclaim was madness. Was Hamlet wrong, Laertes? Never, Hamlet. If Hamlet from himself be taken away, and when he's not himself does wrong, Laertes, then Hamlet does it not. Hamlet denies it. Who does it then? His madness. If it be so, Hamlet is of the faction that is wrong. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. Sir, in this audience, let my disclaiming from a proposed evil free me so far in my most generous thoughts that I have shot mine arrow over the house and hurt my brother.
I am satisfied in nature, whose motive in this case should stir me most to my revenge. But in my terms of honor, I stand aloof, and will no reconcilement till by some elder masters of known honor I have a voice and precedent of peace to keep my name ungored. But till that time, I do receive your offered love like love, and will not wrong it.
I embrace it freely. And let us brothers wager frankly play. Give us the foils, come on.
Come, one for me.
I'll be your foil, Laertes. In mine ignorance, your skill shall, like a star in the darkest night, stick fiery off indeed.
You mock me, sir.
No. No, by this hand.
Give them the foils, young Osric. Cousin Hamlet, you know the wager.
Very well, my lord. Your grace hath laid the odds on the weaker side.
I do not fear it. I have seen you both. But since he is bettered, we have therefore odds.
This is too heavy. Let me see another.
Ah, this likes me well. These foils have all length.
Aye, my good lord.
Set me the stoups of wine upon that table. If Hamlet give the first or second hit or quit in answer of the third exchange, let all the battlements their ordnance fire. The king shall drink the Hamlet's better breath. And in the cup an union shall he throw, richer than that which 4 successive kings in Denmark's crown have worn. Give me the cups, and let the kettle to the trumpet speak, the trumpet to the cannoneer without, the cannons to the heavens to the earth. Now the king dunks the Hamlet. Come, begin, and you the judges bear a wary eye.
Come on, sir.
Come, my lord.
They play.
One!
No!
Judgment!
A hit. A very palpable hit.
Well, again.
Stay, give me drink. Hamlet, this pearl is thine. Here's to thy health. Give him the cup.
I'll play this bout first. Set it by a while. Come.
They play.
Another hit! What say you?
A touch, I do confess it.
Our son shall win.
He's fat and scant of breath. Here, Hamlet, take my napkin, rub thy brows. The queen carouses to thy fortune, Hamlet.
Good, madam.
Gertrude, do not drink.
I will, my lord. I pray you pardon me.
It is the poison cup. It is too late.
I do not drink yet, madam, by and by.
Come, let me wipe thy face.
My lord, I'll hit him now.
I do not think.
And yet it is almost against my conscience.
Come for the third, Laertes, you do but dally. I pray you pass with your best violence. I am afeard you make a wanton of me.
Say you so? Come on.
They play.
Nothing. Neither way.
Have at you now!
Pot them! They are incensed.
Nay, come again!
Look, at the queen there, ho!
They bleed on both sides. How is it, my lord?
How is Laertes?
Why, as a woodcock to mine own springe, Osric. I am justly killed with mine own treachery.
How does the queen?
She swoons to see them bleed.
No, the drink, my dear Hamlet, the drink, I am poisoned.
Oh, villainy! Oh, let the door be locked! Treachery! Seek it out!
Oh, Hamlet, it is here. Hamlet, thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unbaited and envenomed. The foul practice hath turned itself on me. Lo, here I lie.
never to rise again. Thy mother's poisoned. I can no more. The king! The king's to blame!
Your pointed venom too. Then venom to thy work!
Oh! Treason!
Ah, hear thou incestuous murderous Dane! Drink of this potion. Is thy union here? Follow my mother!
He is justly served. It is a poison tempered by himself. Exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet. Mine, my father's death, come not upon thee, nor thine on me.
Heaven, make thee free of it, I will follow thee. I am dead, Horatio. Wretched queen, adieu. You that look pale and tremble at this chance, that are but news of audience unto this act, had I but time, as this fell sergeant death is shreked in his rest. Oh, I could tell you, but let it be. Horatio, I am dead. Thou livest. Report me my cause aright to the unsatisfied.
Never believe it. I am more an antique Roman than a Dane. Here's yet some liquor left.
Aye, Artemat, give me the cup, let go. By heaven, I'll have it. Oh, good Horatio. Good Horatio, what a wounded name. Things standing thus unknown shall live behind me, if thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. What warlike noise is this?
Young Fortinbras, with conquest come from Poland, to the ambassadors of England gives his warlike volley.
Oh, I die, Horatio. This potent poison quite o'ercrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England. But I do prophesy the election night's lights on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice, so I tell him with the occurrence more and less what have solicited. The rest is silence. Oh.
Now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. Why does the drum come hither?
Where is this sight?
What is it ye would see, if aught of woe or wonder cease your search?
This quarry cries of havoc. O proud death, what feast is toward in thine eternal cell, that thou so many princes at a shot so bloodily hast struck?
The sight is dismal, and our affairs from England come too late. The ears are senseless that should give us hearing. To tell him commandment is fulfilled, that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Where should we have our thanks?
Not from his mouth. Had it the ability of life to thank you, he never gave commandment for their death. But since so jump upon this bloody question, you are from the Pollack Wars, and you from England, are here arrived, give order that these bodies high on a stage be placed to the view. And let me speak to the yet unknowing world how these things came about. So shall you hear of carnal, bloody, and unnatural acts, of accidental judgments, casual slaughters, of deaths put on by cunning and forced cause. And in this upshot, purposes mistook, fall on the inventor's reeds. All this I can truly deliver.
Let us haste to hear it, and call the noblest to the audience. For me, with sorrow I embrace my fortune. I have some rights of memory in this kingdom, which now I claim my vantage doth invite me.
Of that I shall also have cause to speak, and from his mouth whose voice will draw on more. But let this same be presently performed, even while men's minds are wild, lest more mischance on plots and errors happen.
Let 4 captains bear Hamlet like a soldier to the stage, for he was likely, had he been put on, to have proved most royal. And for his passage, the soldiers' music and the rites of war speak loudly for him. Take up the bodies, such a sight as this becomes the field, but here shows much amiss. Go, bid the soldiers shoot.
Thank you all for joining us for Corinth Theatre-Arts production of William Shakespeare's Hamlet, and the first ever online-only production. We have all enjoyed this experience very much and are very grateful to all of you for making it possible and for your constant support. Please check Corinth Theatre-Arts Facebook page or website for more information on our upcoming shows, such as Little Shop of Horrors and Barefoot in the Park. Good night.